This program features live coverage of an African safari and may include animal kills and carcasses. Viewer discretion is advised.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome to another beautiful day here in Djuma in the Sabi Sands as we watch this very cold male impala make his way across the open clearings of quarantine. Jump on board for another morning safari. This is a beautiful 13 degrees Celsius, 67 degrees Fahrenheit. My name is Steve Falconbridge. I'm joined on camera by Fergus. I might be completely wrong in the 67 degrees Fahrenheit. We are out on safari and we're out looking for everything wonderful and wild. Please send through 56 degrees Fahrenheit. Sorry about that. I'm a bit dyslexic this morning. Please send through your questions and comments. #SafariLive. Follow us on YouTube stream. Let us know what you'd like to see or hear. We heard one sorting down the dam cam at about 10 o'clock last night. It's a long time. We're going to go see if we can find him. Jump on board. It is chilly. Make sure you've got your jackets, your binoculars, a cup of coffee in a thermal flask that won't spill. And obviously, enthusiasm is number one, top priority for the African wilderness. And obviously, good vibes. Eh, Fergus? Good vibes. That's how we do it out here. Good vibes. Okay, well, talking about enthusiasm, Mr. James Henry.
Good morning. Good morning. How are you? I hope you're all well. It's chilly today. I'm told it's around about 13 degrees Celsius. That's a lie. I don't think it's more than -4 at the moment. So we're just trying to warm up. Please ask us any questions you'd like to. #SafariLive. Otherwise, you can use the chat stream on YouTube. Our plan this morning, me and Senzo, who's on camera today, Herbert, who's over there wearing 6 or 7 jackets, back from leave. There he is. I wish I had 6 or 7 jackets on. We're going to go down, hopefully also towards the waterhole, see if we can find some Jingana tracks, and then possibly move on to where we saw Tundi yesterday and see if we can find out where she went. Let's go. Yes, never too late. I am quite bright-eyed and bushy-tailed. This is mainly because, well, if I wasn't running like this, I'd be lying on the floor in an icicle-covered heap. Come over here, Senzo. Now, this is quite interesting, actually. What we've got is a very large leaved combretum bush. But this is a seedling, and interestingly, it has not lost its leaves, and isn't even looking like it might lose its leaves. So I think it's probably a variable bush willow or a large fruited bush willow, Combretum collinum or Combretum zaire. And what really is interesting is that obviously, I don't know what's obvious about it, but perhaps given the dormancy of what's going on here, or of the grass, it's managing to keep going into the winter, because of course it's a deciduous tree. It's not supposed to be green at this time of the year. But the seedling, or sapling rather, seems to still be growing, which I think is really very interesting indeed. I suppose perhaps it's not that interesting if you look over there. That tree is also the same tree, Combretum collinum, and that's still got leaves. Huh. Just noticed that now as I look around. The variable bush willows actually seem to be maintaining their leaves for longer than the others do. Or have. That's very interesting, isn't it? Yes, I'm sure you're all still fascinated by that. The fact that the variable bush willow is keeping its leaves for longer than the red bush willows, the russet bush willows, and the large fruited bush willows. Good. On we go. Now, let's go across to Good Vibes Steve. I'm going to continue down this way.
Good vibes indeed. We're just trying to get into a position for what is going to be a beautiful, beautiful sunrise. Pardon me for being a bit sniffly. It's a little bit chilly this morning. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. The birds are waking up. Is that some baboon shouting in the distance? Ferg, did you hear that? There are some starlings around making a noise, but far distance I heard something. Taylor headed on in that direction. Maybe she's closer to hear what was going on down towards Twin Dams area, I wonder. Beautiful morning. There's nothing like a little bit of cloud in the sky to give the sun immaculate colours. Yes, indeed, we never have a bad sunset in the African wilderness. It is beautiful and unique every day. And the wildebeest herd has decided to charge across the camera in their wild ways. Not quite sure what has alerted them. There wasn't a sound from them. They all just started charging. We're going to have a look at them. Oh, I know what it is. I know what it is. You know, it's the biggest predators of them all. Let me turn and show you who I'm talking about. The biggest predators of them all, Homo sapiens, in the form of Senzomkise, Herbert Koza, and James R.H. Hendry. That is what would have caused the wildebeest herd. It's no long pants, James. And they are obviously coming to give us some assistance with Tinganana down in the Vuertela watering hole. Ah, hey, good morning. Okay, well, I think... Where are you headed to, Mr. Herbie? Okay, you did hear them as well, hey? Okay, fantastic. We'll go down Twin Dams then. Okay. Where would you like me to check, Herbie? Chelapan? Okay, so Herbie heard also what we heard before. And now heading directly in that certain vicinity. Well, I did mention her before. She is indeed out on safari this morning. Let's go and say good morning.
Look at what we've got. Good morning, good morning. We've got a hyena. This is the second one we've seen that's now covered in blood. Now, I have been racing off. That's why you haven't seen me for some time, is because I'm heading to a leopard sighting here on Chitwa. And I wonder if this has all got to do with the hyenas too. Have they stolen a kill from the leopard? What has happened? Now, we're not going to follow those hyena because I do want to go towards this leopard before it does cross out. So we'll head on in. My name is Taylor McCurdy, of course, and on camera with me today is Sebastian. And I look forward to hearing from all of you. I've got my phone out too. I'm using it to navigate via GPS. I'm not exactly sure where the sighting is, so I'm just having a little look. Listen, listen, listen. Why is Tristan calling Brent, Kirsty? Sorry, I'm getting all the Mara's communications.
That's really close.
How cool is that to hear a hyena though?
Yeah, I'll change it just now.
I think I'm on I'm trying to very quickly fix this because I'm not going to be able to hear Kirsty. Sorry everyone, we're just quickly changing.
Here we go. We should be good.
No, I'm general still on jigger. Final control. FC, hey? Yeah. There we go. Back. Okay. Let's carry on. Let me see if I can get hold of Dylan. Again, little Leo Smith. Dylan for Taylor. Sorry, Dill, I was just with some hyena. Confirm your exact lock now. Oh. Okay, copy. Thank you very much. On my way. Okay, I don't actually need the phone. Can go back in the pocket. So we're going to carry on at high speed. Oh no, I don't know if we're going to make it. How far away is she from the boundary? Okay, I'm not going to make it. I'll pull out. Thank you very much. Okay, we're not going to make... Oh, no, maybe. Okay, copy. I'm just about to cross the damn wall. Very indecisive, sorry. So, it sounds like... I don't know what leopard it is, but it's changing direction, going south, west, west, south, all these different ways. So anyways, we're going to get there. And while we do that, off we go back to James on the bushwalk.
Well, there's the thing that will hopefully warm me up eventually. We too are following up on hyenas. I don't think it's the same one that Taylor's had going, whoop, although we did hear that a lot, obviously, from where we are. We're quite a long way north of where she was. And I suspect... Oh, we need to relink. We'll do something to the bushwalk backpack. Let's go back across to Steve while we do that.
I'm sorry about whatever technical difficulties are going on with the bushwalk pack, but don't worry, we are here. We're just going to stop for a minute and develop our inner kudu and listen. You can all do that. There was some hyena shouting in the distance. Just going to see if we can find them. Yeah, Herbie heard one from where we last saw them, and has told me head exactly where we were going to head in the first place. I did check Voyatela watering hole. Didn't see too much going on there. And didn't go to the other side to see if there's any tracks of Tingana on that side. We're going to follow up on whatever alarm calls they were coming from down on this side. And who knows what it could be. Alarm calls are quite important because it's obvious or it's immediate sort of signs. Tracks, you know, today to track from 10 o'clock last night to an hour ago, it's quite tricky. So if we follow up on the alarm calls, then much better chance of finding something immediate. And obviously if we don't find that, then we'll go back and find the tracks that we need. It is a nice brisk morning. Kirst, are you sure it's only 13? It feels colder than yesterday. It is fresh this morning. So it might be 12 degrees Celsius, so that means it's about 54 Fahrenheit, somewhere around there. Well, it's fresh. It's nice though. Good morning, Chris. You want to know where the guacamoles are? Well, their tracks headed north yesterday morning, night before, and we could hear them calling in the far north. We could hear them calling, but no, nothing this morning. But we've just come out on safari. The Juma Lodge and Gallagher Lodge guides have not come out yet. It's only us so far. We didn't hear anything last night. Did you, Ferg? I was very fast asleep. I heard nothing last night. I didn't even hear Tingana calling. Okay, well, there comes the first Juma guide on the radio. It's Texan. I'm sure Herbie will give him an update. Maybe he won't. Good morning, Tex. It's myself out. James is on walk. I'm heading down Twin Dams. We had alarm calls coming down around Chelapan area. I'm following up So the benefit of... Okay, so let's go back over to James, who's warming up in the sunshine.
Not yet am I warming up in the sunshine. I'd say we've got another half an hour before that sun makes any difference to the temperature. Well, any noticeable difference. It will be making a slight difference. That's popped up over the horizon. Very beautiful indeed. Probably about 6:45, I'd say now. And it always seems to me it's very late for the sun to get up. But there it comes. No further noise from the hyenas. So what I was saying there is that I think that the hyena that Taylor saw and that we heard was not the same one that we originally responded to. And so I think what's happened here is that the hyenas have stolen a kill from someone, or made it themselves, but most likely stolen it from someone. Possibly Tingana, who was around here yesterday. Possibly a pack of wild dogs. That would be really exciting if we found them. Then they've devoured their meal and headed their separate ways, which is, of course, what they do. There are some impala just over there. And they're, of course, watching the fine example of humanity that is Herbert Causa walking down, well, sort of parallel to them. It's a gorgeous morning. Oh, it's beautiful. All right, let's keep going as I answer Jason's question. Hyenas whoop for communication, to talk to each other, to rally each other. They whoop also to... They don't really whoop in alarm. They would growl and make a kind of... it's almost like a... It's like a growling whine in alarm. So they're... when they are confronted with something like a lion. Sort of a growling whine, if you like. And so that whooping sound is most likely communicating to the others around, and in fact it's probably also territorial to let the other hyenas of the area know that this is where the particular clan in question, in this case what we call the Juma clan. I suspect that's probably a member of the Juma clan, just to sort of let any members of other clans know that they're around and that they are still territorial in the area. That sound travels an astonishing distance. Taylor's one, which was whooping, was about, as the crow flies, in that direction, probably 2.5 kilometres or so, so about 1.5 miles, so that's quite far. And it was loud, even where we are, with our pathetic human ears. All right, Taylor has arrived at Chitwa. I don't know if she's managed to get what she was looking for, but let's find out.
Sadly, not. We didn't make it in time. Whoever the leopard, or the leopardess, because I know it was a female, has unfortunately crossed out of Chitwa. But how gorgeous is this instead, to watch the sun rise. Birds chirping, and of course, yeah, the water splashing around a bit from the hippos. But isn't that absolutely gorgeous? Wow. The water is turning to gold now. Wait till you see the next shot. Look at that. That's like a real pot of gold. Oh my goodness. Is that the African darter? Just up a little bit. I think it might be.
Oh, sorry, where?
Literally straight up from your shot. There we go.
Yeah.
That is African darter, I think. Beautiful. One of its favourite perches. I think it's almost in the same spot we had yesterday when we were here with the misty morning. Except we can see it a lot better. Beautiful opportunity for, again, silhouette screenshots. They don't come around very often, so make the most of them. Especially when you have got liquid gold as the water. I'm glad you're all enjoying this. I'm sorry I didn't get there in time for the leopard. But that's just one of those things. The hyenas held us up. Oh, there's lots of hyena, actually. I've just seen another one. I don't know if you'll get it though, Seb, don't stress. Look at that. Wow. What a great screen, a wallpaper for your computer that would be. You might be able to hear some Franklin sort of chirping in the background. It was because a hyena just ran past. And we will keep investigating around here to see what's actually going on. because we did have male leopard tracks also crossing into the side of the reserve, or cutting into Little Gowrie, but I think they may be coming this way. We will try and figure out what on earth is going on around here. And then the other really interesting thing that I want to show you is actually just right here down below us. Now, you may remember a little while ago we had some big rains, and Brent sat and watched a catfish basically move from the big part of the dam across like the sort of causeway and into a bit of a puddle. Now, all down in here, look at that. Those are all catfish. You can actually see the little barbels sticking out of the water. And then that heron was around trying to catch them, but there are lots of them. So I think what's happening now, this is fairly typical. Remember how I told you sorry, let me just turn this game to radio down because it's actually blaring. Remember how I told you the story about the fish that we had to take out of the dam in front of Earth Lodge because they were all dying? I think this process is going to start again soon. With all these hippo around, your hippo are going to be coming from all over now because this is the biggest body of water up here in the northern Sabi Sand. And every time those hippo defecate, urinate, elephants come in, they do the same thing, buffalo, any animals. It's really not good for the water, especially when we're not getting some more rain and it's, you know, not sort of re-oxygenating the water. And then you start to see the fish pushing up against to the edge here. And firstly, they're probably feeding, but I also think that they're losing a lot of oxygen in the water, and there's unfortunately nothing that we can do about it. It's a normal cycle, so we might lose a lot of fish. We should start to see the fish eagles feasting on catfish more and more often, and hopefully we'll see the crocodiles also pulling out some rather large catfish. This is crazy, but they're big too. I mean, they're not small creatures. There we go. The green-backed heron is waiting patiently, although, you know, those fish are going to be a bit too big for you, I'm afraid. But there's, look at all that, look, it looks like pond scum. It's really sort of quite foul, the water, and it's starting to get a bit of a smell to it too, but that comes with, of course, stagnant water. So that's not very nice. It does look like this heron is about to go and have a bubble bath, eh? I wouldn't like to get in there. I wish the water was clear enough that we could actually see. But that is so stunning. It is so, so, so pretty. Dos Santos, I suppose, yes, there are some fish that can survive. I think catfish are one of them that end up, you know, sort of estivating in the mud. Well, not quite estivating. Yeah, estivating in the mud, I suppose. Terrapins and things do it too. And what happens is basically they become solidified in the mud and they go dormant. And then essentially when the new rains come around again and fill up those puddles, you know, they've come back to life. I've never seen this personally, but I've watched a couple of documentaries on it, and it's pretty amazing. But these catfish are such hardy creatures. Like, you should see them, like we saw with Brent, how they'll just, you know, be able to carry on and move out of the water. Is that a baby snappy over there? So I don't know how much of the car is going to be in the way. Let me see if I can find it. There, that thing. Yes, it is a little snappy. Hello, little crocodile. Now, this crocodile would definitely be trying to maybe catch some fish, although it needs to be careful. Some of these fish in here are large, and in Zambia there's a big fish called the vundu, which is fairly similar to a catfish, I suppose, and they're known to eat all the baby crocodiles, but they get massive. I mean, those fish will be as big as I am, as tall as I am, and probably weigh a similar weight too. They were monstrous, so these guys would have to watch out. So there's a lot of things that would want to eat a little crocodile. Again, yesterday morning it was actually a saddle-billed stork here, but you just couldn't see it because it was on the other side of the dam, and that fog, it was so thick. But they would also go for young crocodiles, so would some bigger herons. So they've really got to watch themselves. Not much cover where it is at the moment. Casey, I've never swum across Chitwa Dam, so unfortunately I don't know how deep it is. I would imagine And there might be some parts that I wouldn't be able to stand, but majority of it I don't think would be too deep. But again, I have not been into the middle of this dam and swim around it, nor will I ever go into this dam, not even for a dare. Wonderful. But I think we're going to move on now because I would like to go and find that leopard and, yeah, go and investigate, see what those hyenas are running around for. Put my glove back on. It's cold. It's very cold. Okie dokie. Well, we'll keep searching for some animals and hopefully we'll find something else. We're off to a decent start. Off we go to Mr. Samaj, who's apparently, I think, marching along the road.
Well, I'm marching along, trying to stay warm. It's not really working. I'm remaining quite cold. We've kind of hatched a small plan or a small thought that maybe those hyenas stole from Thandi, who was sort of hunting around about this area yesterday. So we'll head into that area and see if we can't pick her up, especially if there are male leopard's tracks going down into Chitwa. That's probably Tingana, who was around the dam cam yesterday. I don't know who was zooming at about 9:30 last night, but they did a very good job of finding Tingana for us. Unfortunately, I think he has moved on. Other than that, we have seen nothing on our walk, other than a lot of cold air. Now, Kirsten, what does it say the temperature is? And while we wait for Kirsten to tell us the temperature, or what it says the temperature is, it says 13. You see, there's no ways. I'm telling you, it's no more than 6 degrees where we're standing right now. Sorry, who was asking about Shidulu? David. Thank you, Senzo and Kirsten. David, there has been no update, I'm afraid, on Shidulu at all. We don't know where she is. I haven't seen her. I do know that people jump to enormous conclusions whenever an animal is injured. And so I was reading while I was on leave that her jaw was broken. She'd never eat again. She couldn't yawn properly. She was done for, basically, I don't know what the case is. I've so often heard Tingana, for example, when he began to limp a little. Oh, his femur was broken, or his humerus was broken, and then his shoulder was dislocated. All it was a little muscle pull. So, it's very difficult to say. But the point of my telling you all of this is that I don't think you should panic about it. It's definitely too soon to panic. So what we have here is a very small example of Vachellia robusta. That's what it is. I think it's going to become a fairly substantial tree, and it was, in fact, a substantial tree. Now, you can see it's been cut off here. And what we have here is a characteristic of many bush trees out here, and that is the characteristic of coppicing. And so what it does is that if you chop it off or you burn it to the ground, it will sprout again from a number of different stems. And so eventually this will be a multi-stemmed tree. Now, what's important about this is that people will say, they'll come into this area, especially South Africans who think that they know about the bush because they've been to the Kruger Park 3 times. They'll come into this area and they'll say, now, you know what we should do here is the bush is very thick. We need to burn. So we need to put a hot fire through here, clear out all this bush. It'll make it nice and open. Like the Serengeti. We need a bit more Serengeti effect over here. Okay, now that just doesn't work like that, because this is what trees do. They coppice. And so you could burn through this area. You could, if you had a very hot fire, you could kill the above-ground trees, but most of them will do exactly what this one's done, and it will coppice up again. And in fact, all you do by doing that is change the shape of the vegetation. So a lot of people initially burnt these areas again and again. As soon as there was enough grass low, they'd burn them again and again in an attempt to kill the trees and open the place out. And all you do is make shorter trees with more stems, which in fact probably increases the amount of bush encroachment. And what's very interesting is that a place like the Serengeti and the Mara, of course, was formed into the grasslands and savannas that they are, largely by people collecting wood. So it is only the removal of wood from a system like that by elephants or human beings that will clear it out of trees. That is my speech on conservation for today. Steve has got a scavenger.
Indeed, I spy with my little eye, I see a white-backed vulture in the tree, enjoying the rays of the sun. It was looking a little bit unhappy a moment ago. It was looking very, very unhappy, and the sun's rays are starting to warm it up. See how it tucks its head back into its sort of collar of feathers to try and keep it warm. Because it's cold like this, birds like vultures are too heavy to fly effectively. Very cold, so they'll basically hang around and wait for the heat of the day to start generating thermals before they can go around and do exactly what James said, scavenge. So don't think just because you find a vulture that there must be meat somewhere nearby. These vultures don't move by night, and the whiteback vulture, in my opinion, is the most unreliable one for finding a carcass. We often find them near watering holes in the afternoon after they've gone and bathed and cleaned themselves, and then will roost right there, exactly as it's doing last afternoon rays of the sun, drying the feathers before they then spend the night perched atop a leafless tree. Nice view from up there. Very nice. So you can also see the sort of dark patch under the throat there that is called the crop. And a good evidence to see if a vulture has fed or has been to a kill is that if that crop is bulging and full, then it has definitely accumulated some meat in the crop, which it often takes back to its mating pair on the nest. And if you do find a group of vultures with a hooded vulture or a tawny eagle or a bateleur or something, and they're in a tree and the crop is full, then it means that the birds have fed. But if you find them in a tree with those same raptors and the crop is not full, it means that they have not fed, and there's a very good chance that the predator is still on the ground. It's a good little bit of information. Tiffany, the rarest species of vulture we find down here, I've never seen a bearded vulture down here. Egyptian vulture, I think, is possibly the most. I've never seen Egyptian vulture in the Kruger. I believe they were seen earlier this year by someone. The bearded vulture, the lamachai, occurs up in the mountains. It's not really a low-felt specialist. It's more of a mountain specialist. But the Cape vulture and the lappet-faced vulture are two that were quite common and are declining a lot due to habitat loss and loss of valuable nesting sites. And also the fact that people think that they are killing their lambs. So they are poisoning vultures. And vultures, unfortunately, have got a very high price on the medicinal market, because people think to have a vulture's foot or part of a vulture, I'm not sure exactly what part, means very good luck. So it doesn't bode well for the vulture if people think they get good luck by having parts of it. The whiteback vulture is still in pretty good populations, the most common, but I would say locally the rarest would be, or the declining two species of the Cape and the lappet-faced. And the bearded occurs up in the mountains down in Lesotho, possibly other places as well, but high mountainous areas. But then the bearded, it was spotted. I don't know who told me. I think I saw a post about that. It was in the Kruger Park for some time, but I've never seen one. Apparently the highest ever flying bird, the bearded vulture, been seen by a jumbo jet in the sky. Very cold up there, very low oxygen levels, and you need to be well adapted to keeping yourself warm when you are at extremely high altitude. And Donna, it's generally one. They sometimes can lay 2 eggs, vultures, but generally only one at a time. Sort of the second egg is a bit of an insurance policy in case the first one doesn't hatch. But I've never seen vultures with 2 chicks. It's quite a greedy or quite a big mouth to feed when you are scavenging. So you got to keep bringing food back for them. So 1 is the general norm, but I think between 1 and 3 eggs have been recorded, but only ever 1 really goes through to fruition. Okay, well, while this vulture warms up in the morning sunlight, we're going to continue moving on in our quest eastwards, see if we can find any tracks. We didn't find anything about those alarm calls, couldn't hear or see anything along the way. I want us to keep searching, shall we, Ferg? It was a nice little moment of quietness in the sunshine. And while we follow up on these alarm calls, let's go see exactly what leopard Taylor is following up on.
I don't know. Like I said, I would really be convenient if the animals could somehow engrave their initials onto one of the pads on their feet, so that when they step, I'd know exactly who I'm trying to look for. So I don't know. I don't have any more tracks because they went into Little Gowrie. We can't drive into Little Gowrie. I think the female leopard that the guy saw was a female leopard by the name of Sibuyi. She's got two cubs, and they normally hang around just on the edge of Chitwa, Mala, Little Gowrie, Vessels, that sort of area. That's where she seems to be based now. And yeah, I haven't seen it. I don't think it was Kuchava. I think Kuchava's tracks and things like that have been seen down in the far east, but that area over there is, from my understanding and from what the guides have been saying over the last couple of weeks, is that that's where Sibuyu's been hanging out. So yeah, that's who I think it is. I also don't think she had a kill, because not one person mentioned any kind of hyena interaction. We'll have a look at this waterbuck bull. No one mentioned any hyena interaction. No one mentioned that leopardess had a kill. So I think that those hyenas have either killed something themselves, or they have stolen something from another leopard. But I don't think from Tandi, because they came from in the middle of Chitwa somewhere. So it'd be interesting. And remember, hyenas are also capable of bringing down prey. That's very pretty. Big waterbuck bull. Why is that youngster making that noise? Or that female? What was that? Was that a black collar barbet? Sorry, I thought I heard the start of a call. It was quite intriguing. This waterbuck keeps making a strange sound. See if she does it again. Mm-hmm. It is her. That's the sound she's making. I don't know who she's looking for. It's not looking for me, apparently. It's the most bizarre sound. Let's see who she meets up with. She's getting excited now. Have you ever seen a sparkle in a waterbuck's eye before? Well, there you go. This must be a young waterbuck. I'm thinking that maybe she's fairly young. I mean, she looks like an adult in terms of her size, but the sounds that she's making reminds me of a youngster. So these two are walking up. Let's see. Yes, but can you both greet not behind the bush? Please don't be... Oh, typical, hey, Sebastian. Oh, hang on. No, take 2 more steps. Okay, let me go forward. Yes, that is the daughter. That is the daughter of that one. I'm sure. Not quite fully grown just yet. You can see there's just a slight size difference. Oh, and then they kissed. I don't know why. It just looked like they did that. Yes, Sherry, it was a very cute sound. There's nice interactions with the waterbuck. Also another youngster. Probably nearing on maybe 2 years old. So perhaps offspring from... Well, no, maybe just over, yeah, I would say almost 2 years old. I don't think that they're quite new. What do you say? Can you show me a birth certificate? Project Alpha, you said totes adorbs. Lol. Very funny. You know. Yeah, exactly. OMG. That's how I'm just going to speak in acronyms today. That's what we'll do. Oh, that's multitasking at its finest, hey? I can scratch my ear and also urinate at the same time. Very, very interesting. I'm sorry, animals. I think you must have me confused. My name is not Samaj Hendry, because they seem to do this in front of James all the time. Oh no, Sebastian. I've spotted a lumpy blue waterbuck over at the back here. Shame. Oh no. What happened? What's wrong? Now we need to do the inspection. Can you keep walking? So we can try and see what is wrong. Here again, I'm not a vet. Front legs look okay. Oh, looks like back right, eh? Back right leg. I think there's something wrong. Maybe at the hip? Can't see any swellings on the hock. Oh, that's a problem. I'm sure it looks like an older waterbuck too. Yes, you look like your eyes just say you are tired.
Yeah.
Shame.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what has happened to it. Nah. Maybe it was running. That doesn't look very healthy. Oh no. Now, of course, this is all very sad to watch, but it is nature. Like I said, I think she's an older girl. I don't think she's particularly young. Although, don't forget, adrenaline is amazing. The way it can make an animal that has a broken leg run like there's absolutely nothing wrong with it. But she is going to be in a bit of trouble because if a pride of lions spots her, or even a big clan of hyenas, they're going to see this weakness, and that's who they will try and single out. That's very sad. I couldn't tell you if it's arthritis or not. Like I said, I'm not a vet or anything along those lines, so I don't know. It could be a number of different things, but something is wrong with its back right leg. Shame. Oh well, that's just one of those things. Anyways, on a happier note, there's a very chatty arrowmark babbler just below her in the grass, just on the termite mound right here. Here we go. Oh, did you get breakfast already? That's very pretty. Hopefully some more of them will come and join this one as it flutters through the grass litter. I maybe need to take note here of what this babbler is doing, because it's obviously trying to flush out insects. Now, I was trying to flush out insects yesterday on the bushwalk. Let's see what I was doing wrong. Firstly, I don't think I was talking enough. I apparently also need to hop forward with both feet together and then flap my arms. And then also stick my face into the grass and peck at the ground. I'll try that next time I'm on bushwalk and see if that works. But they'll all be struggling. Oh, we've got a second one joining the party. Hello. Yes? Now you can help one another. Surely you're not just a two-man gang. Arrowmark babblers, where's the rest of your team? It's very pretty in the morning light. Oh, here they come. Oh, hello. You got some breakfast? I can hear the reinforcements coming on in. This is so cool. Special moments like these, because you don't often get to see babblers. They don't sit still for very long. So it was quite nice that we were already sitting here. We're not moving around. Well, they're quite comfortable with us. Lots of things. Lots of starlings talking. Franklins are waking up now. I can hear lots of digging going on. Someone's scraping through the leaf litter, probably a franklin, or maybe the babblers. I like to turn over leaves and things like that too. Oh, right. So I'm not sure who's rustling the leaves in the distance, but perhaps it's the same bird that Steve has.
It could indeed be. These guys have decided to come to their favourite rhino midden. Now they've had their snack, they've paid their bill, and they're leaving. They were scratching around in the rhino midden, nice and warm. I think maybe they were looking for some insects or seeds, or maybe they were just trying to generate some heat. And off they go again in their morning forages. Crested franklin, the morning alarm clocks. There we go. A pile of poo. A warm pile. Nice signpost on the side of the road. Is it fresh? No, it's not as fresh as I thought. Oh, it is actually quite fresh. Nice and moist. Okay, so there were some reports of some potential elephants up in the northeast. They do. Sorry, I didn't hear the name there about them blending so well, but they do. They blend beautifully. Sweet history, they do. They blend beautifully. They do blend right in there. Okay, so here are the tracks of a herd of elephant that are heading in that direction. I did get an update from someone on the radio, but he mentioned them going in another direction, so I don't know if it's going to be worth our while, but let's have a look. Tracks are all in the road. The entire road is elephant. Let's have a look at that, Ferg. You can see the entire road is elephant tracks. Lots and lots of feet everywhere, heading in the same direction we are now, directly east towards Cheetah Cut Line. So let's see if we can find these animals. Elephants are fun no matter what time of day. Obviously, while we're looking for these ellies, we're also looking for other tracks on the road. We're not fruitful at all with regards to those alarm calls from before, but it seems like James is knocking on some wood.
Well, certainly not me, but the cardinal woodpecker I'm looking at is knocking on some wood. The smallest woodpecker we have that looks twice the size that it would normally, because of course it is so very cold, and so it has puffed itself out. And this one you can hardly hear knocking. I mean, I can't hear it knocking at all at the moment. It makes a very soft knocking sound, much softer than the bearded woodpecker or the golden-tailed. You can just hear it going tick, 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 tick. Herbert's just told me to shut up because he can hear alarm calls. We're just listening, everyone. They're far away. Let's go. It sounds like Kudu or Nyala barking quite far away. Yeah, at Hyena Road Junction, Central Road, exactly where we had Tundi yesterday. Anyway, that was the cardinal woodpecker. Now we're on to what we had sort of come to look for. Oh, Romit. My favourite woodpecker species? I don't know, really. I'm not sure that I have one. I haven't thought about it before. I'm going to go probably with the Neisner woodpecker, which doesn't occur here, but because it reminds me of Christmas holidays, the Neisner woodpecker. I would show you a picture, but we're going to try and catch up with where these alarm calls are. I'll just quickly show you that although we're nowhere near water, the hippopotamus do come out to this area, and they were here in abundance last night, a mother and her son or daughter, and they were of course just displaying the fact that this is where they are. The only species I know of that makes a bold attempt to spread its dung so far and wide. Let's keep going up here. And hippo dung is quite strong smelling, actually. It smells like rotting grass. Now, while we're walking along here, I want to tell you something interesting that I read. I've been reading quite a lot about human nutrition of late, and one of the most interesting things that I came across, the author was talking about human beings and their digestive systems, and herbivores and their digestive systems. And we know, of course, that herbivores, like that hippo, are hindgut fermenters. Well, that particular one is for all intents and purposes, not a ruminant. So let's call it a hindgut fermenter. Hippos actually have a slightly front fermenting gut, but that's not important. And obviously those fermentation vats that hindgut fermenters and hippos have are little repositories of bacteria. And what those bacteria do is, of course, they break down the cellulose, they break down the that was really sore. They break down the carbohydrate meal that the hippo eats. And what was very interesting, we know all this, but what we often don't know is that what they are creating, what the bacteria are creating, are 3 or 4 different kinds of fatty acids. And so far from the animal surviving purely on carbohydrates, the bacteria are creating fat from the carbohydrates, and the protein in the diet is provided by the bacteria themselves. And basically what this chap was saying, his argument was that human beings don't have any of those bacteria in their guts. And so for us to eat purely vegetable meals doesn't make any sense from a biological point of view, because our bodies in fact have no mechanism for turning carbohydrates into fat, and we need that fat for energy.
Oh my goodness, sorry about the technical gremlins, but it kind of worked perfectly because there was something I wanted to show you. I'm going to try and get out of the car without getting into the frame. This is going to be tricky, Seb. I'm going to try. Look, I'm going to James Bond it like this.
What you doing, Taylor?
Did I get into a shot?
Yes.
I did try to James Bond out of the car. I'm obviously, so I'm not a secret agent. Okay, so basically what we've got here is little baby hippopotamus footprints, hippopotamus tracks. And I want to show you how small they are. They're like the size of my hand. My hand is finally bigger than something. That's amazing. That's very close because I got gloves on. They make my fingers look really long. Anyways, that's a really tiny little hippopotamus track walking with Mom, trotting down the road. And I suspect they went back to Chitwa Dam. But that's where they've come from. So maybe they went on to Torchwood last night. But that is so sweet. They're so small. Very cute. Okay, let me get back in now. Wait. So we've had no luck with anything else other than the sweet baby hippopotamus tracks. Don't know what else is going to be out today. I think we might actually head back towards Djuma. I'm now starting to wonder if those male leopard tracks that we had crossing into Little Garis are maybe not Tingana's, because I don't know when Tingana left the dam. Does anybody know when he moved away from the dam cam, at what time? Because that cat does like to travel. He can, oh yeah, like 10:30 last night. Yeah, he could be at Londolozi by now. So I don't think that maybe Tingana's still on the property. I think those may have been his footprints, but again, it's so difficult to tell. I don't know. There's lots of leopards around here. Could be quarantines. It could be hukumuris. Who knows? Oh yeah, we'll keep trying to find you some wonderful animals. Let's hope for elephants. However, Steve has got the animal that is taller than an elephant.
It is taller than an elephant, but not if it's lying down. We do have indeed a giraffe. The giraffe is looking at something in the road. And it's a duiker that's just crossed the road in front of us, causing the giraffe to have a look. You're probably not going to get it though, Ferg, but it just goes to show that giraffe do see things. And the duiker's gone. We are moving into the area where Herbie's heard some alarm calls, but we couldn't help but stop for this pair of beautiful ladies. The tracks of a really big herd of elephant all went directly east into Torchwood, or should I say southeast into Torchwood, so we're not going to be following up. And there she goes. Giraffe are beautiful, Kia. Very, very beautiful, especially the ladies. They are so elegant and delicate, and I just love their eyebrows, or their eyelashes, my bad. And we really are seeing lots of giraffe and Djuma at the moment. It's really quite nice to see. And it's very interesting after my discussion yesterday about how magic guaris are not browsed. This female is actually browsing a sickle bush that's growing in between the magic guari. So there we go. Looked like she was browsing on the guari bush, which would have been a bit strange. Just look at that beautiful tongue, just ripping off those thorns, or those branches, those leaflets. And those thorns or spines have the potential to puncture a tractor tire. Yet the giraffe, without any fear, sticks their entire face in there. Just rips off the leaves with the tongue. There we go. Got some seed pods there. Very tasty. There's a very delicious, tasty plant, the sickle bush. All Almoor, I do not know. But this female does look rather pregnant, though. But I don't know if she would actually physically choose to eat certain leaves to induce labor. I have no idea. I think labor might just come when it comes for giraffe, and it is a gestation period of approximately 15 months. Lots of medicinal value in them, in the sickle bush, which we will be getting to at some stage. We'll save it for that day. They are quite relaxed. They didn't hear the alarm calls in the distance that Herbie's talking about. Well, we're going to be moving off. See if we can help the bushwalk team locate whatever it is that has been shouting or shouting at as these giraffe slowly move off. Well, feeding as they go. Okay, well, while this giraffe increases her value of food as she goes, seeing as she is pregnant, nutrition is top priority.
We just have come into the area where the alarming was going on, and so we're just walking quite carefully. There was another alarm call as we got up here from a kudu or nyala, a barking sound. We're just going quite close by. And the francolins are shouting as well. Shall we go? I don't know where Steve is. We'll just try and get him in here, because I think he's quite close by. Sounds like she's probably moving north, because the alarm calls are obviously following her. Let's go. I'm saying her, assuming it's Tundi. Just keep wandering through here. What you got? There's the Nyala, over there. She could be moving anywhere in here. There's the Nyalas, can you see them? Just running to the left there. They're not calling anymore. So she's moving somewhere around here. Romit, that's actually quite an easy question to answer. Hukumuri on foot doesn't run like Tingana does. Tingana is actually dreadful on foot, because if you do find him, you normally, well, it'll be such a brief view. He doesn't like being seen on foot. I've seen Hukumuri, I think, twice on foot, and he's quite tolerant. I mean, he gives you a little snarl to say stay away, but he doesn't tick off like Tingana does. So Hukumuri's better on foot. And that's one of the reasons Tingana's lasted as long as he has, of course, that he's cautious. He isn't one to take silly chances for no reason. But Franklin's now going crazy over here. Franklins could go crazy for just about anything, but the fact that we're so close by indicates that maybe we've got a leopard around here. Malika, you say this is so exciting. It is, isn't it? And here are some of the Franklins that were shouting earlier. Have we spotted them? We're just looking around this termite mound for tracks. Much easier in winter now because, of course, we can see through the bush a bit. Come over here. You got her? He's got her. Okay. This leopard is very close to us. She's watching us, obviously. I'm saying it's a she. She thinks we can't see her, of course. Okay, let's get unscheduled quickly. She's got a kill. She's killed something. Welcome to our new viewers who have just joined us. We're standing here in the Western Kruger National Park, and we've just found a leopard on foot. We think she's just killed something, probably a little scrub hare. She absolutely knows that we're here, but she doesn't know that we know that she's there. In other words, we're not obviously pointing at her. We're just kind of standing here about 20 meters away, or 70 feet or so, pretending to be kind of looking around somewhere else. And that means that she is prepared to be there and wait and see if we don't just back off. I don't know if you can see that, but her ears are flat down to the ground, and she's watching us. She's looking straight at us because she thinks we can't see her, and her tail is just starting to flick a little bit. Now, if you have any questions, feel free to send them through. My name is James. You don't need to see me for now. I'm just going to ask Senzo to stay exactly where he is because I don't want him to move. This leopard will react if we move too much. Senzo is on camera. Yeah, you can put your foot down there. It might be. Now, we don't know if this is Thandi, who is a 12-year-old leopardess we see quite a lot around here, or maybe her 8-month-old cub, Tlalamba. But normally a leopard at this distance would move away, they'd walk off. But because she's killed something, it's quite possible that she's deciding that she really doesn't want to give up her meal. I think this is Thandi, I think it's the mother. Alright, now, this situation could go one of two ways. She could get up and come running towards us as if to say, back off, I don't want you anywhere near me. Or she could just stand up with her kill and walk away. Shall we move back a little bit? Okay. Now, Malika, my heartbeat is racing now, and you see there's that tail starts to flick. It's like a house cat. It's indicating irritation. So we need to... There we go. Stand still, stand still. So that's what we thought would happen. What we're going to do is back off now so that she can come and have her kill. Let's go back around here. We're just going to back off around here. My heart rate, Malika, now is at about 200. Okay, we are losing picture. We're just going to get Steve in here, in the vehicle. He's not far away. Okay, I think we're fine here, so turn around now. I just wanted to move away from being too obvious. Can you see her there? Some of you think that that is Tlalamba, the youngster. I don't think that's the youngster. That's the mother. That's Thandi. Yeah, Tlalamba wouldn't do that. She'd just run. We just need to try and get Steve in here. 3 of us standing on the pinnacle of this termite mound are going to be very intimidating to her, though. No, we're not in any real danger, no. What she was doing there is warning us, saying, please don't come any closer. A leopard is not going to take a risk, though. And so, unless she had a cub there, which I don't think she does, it's very unlikely that she would push through on a charge. She's very irritated, there's no question. But if we were to walk down towards there, making a noise, for example, she'd back off. What we don't want, though, is for her to disappear. We don't want her to leave whatever she's killed on the ground there. We want Steve to be able to come in here, and then we'll back out. Andrea, we had no choice in that situation but to just sit, and if she'd run towards us, we'd have had no choice but to just stand exactly where we were. Now, our reaction was to do that, and then we stood. You noticed. You would have noticed the camera shake a little bit. That's completely normal, of course. It's almost impossible when a leopard stands up like that to not react. Okay, Steve's coming in now. You can just see the vehicle coming. Herbert's calling him in on the radio. And now when I saw the spots in the ground there, I thought to myself, that leopard is not going to lie there forever. She's going to eventually realize that we're talking about her. Basically, she was going to see our eyes staring towards her, and she's going to get irritated enough to give us a little bit of a rev, which of course is what she did. Here comes Steve, you'll hear the car going. Do you want to take a step up now, Sins? Alright, let's go across to Steve and see if you can't get a better view of this leopard.
Good morning. Just moving into the sighting here, folks. It's a little bit tricky though. Just trying to navigate some branches. Watch out there, Ferg. James off to our left-hand side, nice and safe on top of a termite mound. Very tricky getting in here. I can see it over there. It's looking right at them. Can you see it, Ferg? Who is that, you beautiful cat? Just going to stop there, Ferg. Wow, she's looking at the bushwalk team very intently. Hello, beautiful. Is that beautiful Tundi, I wonder? I'm trying to have a look. Kirst thinks it looks like it. Hello. Okay, so she is definitely looks like Tundi. She's looking at the bushwalk team retreating. Hello, there you are, beautiful. This is definitely one of your favorite areas. She's coming to investigate. She's making sure that they're moving off. She's moving towards them for some reason. Okay, maybe she had a kill nearby where the bushwalk team has been, and she's now going to go back and reclaim it. Sometimes if a cat has a kill, especially a leopard, they will always move off it for their safety if they are at all think something might influence for their safety, but then they'll quickly go back to it afterwards once they've assumed what it is safe or has moved off again. They can't afford to be bitten by a hyena or attacked by a lion, so when it comes to meat, they'll always abandon it for their own benefit. And then you can tell by her interest, she's quite keen to go back. There she is. Syed, it is wonderful to watch it from home. Indeed, it's even, I tell you, it's quite marvelous to be seeing it where we are as well. Here in the morning, the temperature is slowly getting a bit warmer. And that is a live, wild female leopard coming to you from Djuma in the Sabi Sands. I suppose we need to introduce ourselves, don't we, Ferg? Michaela, she is a stunning cat, and as soon as she settles, we're going to try and move again and see if we can find exactly where she has got her little bit of meat. I do think this is Tundi, who is a very successful leopardess in this area, and she has got a 8-month-old cub. And there she is. She's definitely looking for whatever she's left behind. Isn't she gorgeous in this morning light? Going back towards the termite mound where the bushwalk team was sitting. She's going up onto the top there, Fergus. There we go. There we go. She's having a look. Angela, I have no idea where her cub is. Maybe I'm going to move a little bit forward. How about back, Ferg? Back might work. Okay, let's go forward then. Sorry, folks, we're just trying to get you in a good position here. Beautifully backlit now. Just Going to get around her over here. She puts herself nicely on that termite mound. Let's try and find ourselves a beautiful spot. How's that, Fergus? She's one of James's fans, obviously. She's giving him a proper little look as he moves off. There she is. Hello, beautiful Thandi. Say when you're happy there, Ferg. You good? There we go. She definitely is a fan of the bushwalk team. Look how she's watching them move off. Sharon, yes, the bushwalk is safe. They've moved off now. These leopards in this area have got quite used to seeing us on foot. They don't normally react too much to us anymore. They do, if they've got a kill, for example, it is sometimes something they'll do. They'll move off from it just because they're not sure what might happen. But the bushwalk team has moved off. They have retreated back the way that they came. And she is not showing any of the sort of negative behavior signs. Just more interest and curiosity than anything. Okay, well, let's quickly go back to James for one last view.
So what we've done is moved a long way away. We're probably about 100 meters away now, 325 feet from where we saw her. But what she's done is that she's popped up onto this termite mound because we disappeared. And so what she's wanted to do is just check where we were. Now, I was just discussing with Herbert, who is our game scout, who actually found that leopard. I was discussing with him. She gave us that little rev, obviously. She growled. I said, why do you think she did that? Because normally Thandi on foot is actually pretty relaxed. She doesn't normally worry too much. And he said he thought it was because there was meat there. The other explanation is also that there were three of us standing quite high up over her, so it would have been quite intimidating for her. So instead of moving away, because she had meat, she would have given us a little bit of a rev. And so we discussed perhaps what we would have done was back off a little bit, stand behind the termite mound, but so that she could still see us. Now what we've done is we've moved away behind the termite, behind all that bush. What's happened is she thought, well, where are these guys? What have they done? That's why she's come up and she's watching us from there. As we move off now and she watches us go, she'll slowly relax. All right, thank you very much for watching this little show. For those of you who have just joined us, if you want to carry on watching, just Google Safari Live. You'll find a platform to see us on, and you can join us for the rest of the safari. Taylor, you've met Steve already, of course. Taylor is also looking for a leopard down on the southern parts of the reserve that we're on. Alrighty, we're going to get out of here. Give Thandi a chance to eat whatever she caught. Let's go back to Steve.
Thanks, James and Herbie, Bushwalk team, Senzo. It's really very special to be able to see and to find a leopard on foot. There's something quite sort of heart-pounding about it. And she is watching them depart, and she's relaxing. Now she's probably looking back at whatever her kill was. We haven't seen any meat anyway. But in typical leopard fashion, she's got a bit of elevation. And amazingly how camouflaged she is up there. We know where she is, we've got her in full view, but if she was just sitting like that on top of the mound, a good spot for her to spy a duiker or two or an impala and then move off, stalking through the long grass to get a bit closer. And this lady here is an expert. She is a very successful hunter with a very hungry mouth to feed nearby somewhere. We don't know. Maybe if she has got some meat here, we'll find out, and maybe she will be calling her youngster in or carrying it back to her. We're not sure. We saw Tlalamba, her little youngster, not so far away the night before. Was it the night before last we saw her? I'm not sure if James got her yesterday afternoon. I think he got a brief look at her. I don't know exactly where that was, but it's seemingly the same sort of area. It's just down the road. We're not far off. And there she is. And Thandi, she's got a lot of personality, but we all love her, don't we? Yes, we do. I think this is Jamie's favourite leopard. Jamie's up in the Mara at the moment. Indeed, King Quad, the queen on her throne. And what's very interesting is that a termite mound in Shangaan is actually called a Shidulu. So the Shidulu female is named after a termite mound. And here Thandi is flaunting that title as well. She is the reigning leopardess in the area by succession. And she's surveying her area. She does quite enjoy the area we're in right now. We've had her many, many times for the last few months. And it always amazes me how she is found and how, especially with Herbie being around, expert tracker, how they spot her. But it's so important to listen to those alarm calls of the bush. Something that I remember doing a lot in my training was students having to know and understand alarm calls, and a lot of them would always ask, but why? Well, because if you understand them, you can get these sort of views. If you don't understand what an alarm call is, then you're basically just blind out in the bush and hoping to find an animal in the road, which, yes, we do find from time to time, but the amount of times we physically have to come into the thickets to find them is majority of the time. And when you're a camouflage cat like that, it's very hard to see. And even from the road, I couldn't see. Okay, the viewers think that we might have parked on the kill. Well, I don't know. We didn't see anything on the ground when we parked here. She's not looking at me. We'll see where she moves to. I've no doubt she will reclaim it, and Thandi is not shy. She will come and ask me politely to move if I am indeed on top of it, but I didn't see anything underneath the vehicle as we pulled in here. But I think she's still, after seeing people on foot, cats there's still a little bit of nerves in them. So as she settles down and regathers herself, she will slowly remember that she's got food somewhere and return to it. So we'll stay right here. I think she's still watching the bushwalk team in the distance make their way out. Okay, well, we're going to stay here. We're not going anywhere. We want to see exactly what this leopard has killed.
Oh, so exciting. Well done, Samaj, the Little Mermaid, strikes again with Thandi. He must be her master, or I don't know, but for some reason Thandi likes to show herself to James, which is fabulous. That's great. So I haven't had a chance to even tell you yet, but I'm almost certain that Tingana is not on the property anymore. The reason why I say that is because when we left Chitwa and we came back around this way, there's a spot that Tingana walks every single time he goes down into the Mulwati, and there are male leopard tracks using that exact route, and I've only seen him use that same route about 10 times, so that's why I'm almost certain that it is, and go straight into Little Gari, those ones that I was telling you about earlier. So I think he's moved on down that way. At least Kandi's here though. Anyways, we're trying to track a herd of zebra. Oh, James just heard a leopard calling by Twin Dams. We're going the wrong way. Tingana, he's coming back. I don't know if it's him. Okay, I'm going to race down that way to see what's happening. Off you go, back to Thandi.
Wow, this is all happening this morning. Well, Thandi is looking in the direction she looked at, and a moment ago she did the characteristic little, I can't do it very well, that call that the leopard does when it's calling its cub. So maybe Tlalamba's nearby. We will see. We know that only takes a few of her calls before the youngster decides to materialize in her playful manner. We'll just be patient and wait here. Might be more reason why she was behaving the way she was towards the bushwalk team, because normally on foot herself without a cub nearby, she's pretty bulletproof with regards to her movements. She just stays there, and eventually when you find her, she's looking straight at you, straight through your soul. But possibly because the cub is nearby, she might be behaving a little bit more protectively. Ryan, Texas, well, that is a very interesting question. I'm not going to be testing it for you today, but Ryan, Texas, wants to know if playing dead helps you to survive a lion or leopard attack. Well, if a young leopard or lion attacked you, one that hasn't really learned how to kill anything yet, and you pretended to be dead, I think you'd probably escape by just pretending to be dead if someone was on hand to help you. But the problem is, the reason they catch you, yes, first of all, is because of movement. But once a lion or leopard, I believe, once they sort of get the blood into the nose, there's no stopping the feeding that will ensue. I've seen it a number of times with young cats, though, when they catch a young animal, when the animal pretends to be dead, they leave it alone for a while. But as soon as it moves again, they'll catch it again. So I don't know how you're going to get yourself away from the lion or the leopard after playing dead. You're going to have to play dead for a very long time without any movement or breathing. So rather just avoid getting into that situation, and make sure if you are out in the African wilderness, you're with trained personnel. It is not something that we train people to do. If you do get attacked, play dead. We don't. We practice don't run, and don't get into those situations. So I hope that answers your question. Okay, I think it's about time for it to call again, Ferg, isn't it? Come on, Mama, call your cub. He's definitely been looking in that same direction the whole time. It's been some time since I've seen the two of them together, Ferg. How about yourself? I haven't seen Thandi in weeks. Last time I saw her was actually just down the road here, 100 meters or so, on that Dacre kill that Tlalamba ran away with. And then we saw Thandi again the night after, but without the youngster in tow. So is she going to materialize? And if so, is she going to be bringing her meat with her? Here we go, she called. Probably very quiet for you to hear. Just a very gentle contact call. She just called again. Ramit, that is a question that I suppose a few guys have been disagreeing on. Tristan reckons it might be. Brent reckons it's not. I really don't know. I don't know, honestly. I mean, she's getting quite old for a leopard for breeding. What has she spotted? Okay, here she comes. Here she comes. Are you ready for it, folks? Here comes some kitty love. Here comes some kitty love. There is Tlalamba. She's very excited to see Mum. Are you ready for it? Oh, has she got the meat there? She's calling Mum back. That's Tlalamba saying, no, Mum, you come down the termite mound. I don't want to go up there. Where's my breakfast? Come on, Tlalamba, stop playing in the... Oh, she's looking at us through the branches there.
Don't have a shot.
Don't have a shot. I've got her just trying to look through me. And she's just at the back of it there, Fig. She's trying to come around. There we go. Hello. It's like, who are these people? Come on, young one, you've seen us your whole life. You know exactly who we are. Here she comes into the light. Hello, beautiful. Isn't that gorgeous? We are very privileged to be able to see these sort of things. Very, very privileged. It's almost as if whatever's been killed is right here. She seems to be moving around it, doesn't she? Or she's wondering where Mum moved it to. Maybe Mum's playing a little bit of an Easter egg hunt with her. See if you can find whatever it is I killed, young one. I get the feeling it's in there, isn't it, Ferg? Get the feeling it's just in that little shady spot. Yeah, there we go. There we go. What is it? It is a scrub hare. Well done. Well done, Mum. Seems like Tlalamba's also looking around to see if James is still here. There she goes. Oh, Mum, I dropped it. I dropped it. Did anyone see me drop it? No, no one saw me drop it. Look how well I can drop. Oopsie. She's going to need to get that down. The thing is she doesn't realize that adult leopards don't run with the kill dragging between their legs. They walk. When you run, it generally flaps around a bit too much, and then it makes you trip. But that is something she will have to learn. Going to take it somewhere. Just off to the left. Just off to the left there. Yeah, Carol, she doesn't. She's definitely filling out. The gold is definitely moving in between the spots. And she's just a little mini version now of Mum. Definitely her leopard form is starting to form out. You can still see the watchful Mum just there in the long grass. Okay, well, while we try and possibly reposition and get a better view of these two cats feeding on their kill, let's go back to those successful walkers.
Yes, the successful walkers indeed. I'd love to take some credit for what transpired this morning. Unfortunately, I cannot. It must all go to Herbert, who first heard the Nyala, then he found the Nyala, then he found the Franklins, then he found the leopard just prior to my standing on it. So I'm quite grateful to him for finding the leopard. Certainly it was a very wonderful experience, as it always is, walking with Herbert especially. What we have over here has got nothing to do with leopards. It is a baby jackalberry tree, and we never really get to look at the leaves because, of course, they're always so very high up. So what you're looking for with the jackalberry tree, Diospirus mespiliformes, is the wavy margin, which you can see, it's got waves, slightly folded over, and as you will also notice, it is still green, and it'll only lose these leaves probably just before the first rains, in fact maybe even after the first rains. Now, it's a slow growing tree, which means it's going to be some time before it bears fruit, and in actual fact it hasn't chosen a very clever place to live because it's living in the shadow of a leadwood tree. Now, this tree is only going to get thicker as it gets older, but it's even more slow growing than the jackalberry, and so perhaps this jackalberry will grow over the top. I've got to tell you, it will be fascinating, and I don't think I'm going to be able to do this, but to come back here in 100 years' time and see what has transpired between these two organisms competing for sunlight. Don't you think that would be fascinating to do? And slightly, I don't know, I guess it's, what is it? It's not disempowering. It's I'm forgetting the word that I'm looking for, but basically it's an indicative of how lost another word now. How fleeting our existence is. How fleeting our time on Earth is. Because these trees are both going to be here long after we are all gone. Everyone watching this is gone, unless they come up with some kind of magical anti-aging solution.
Well, sorry about the difficulties with James's bushwalk backpack. It might be the fact that the ancestors live inside of the leadwood tree. Maybe the gremlins. That is their home base. And there is Tundi. She's just moved back onto where the kill was. That is where she had the kill before, and maybe she doesn't know that Tlalamba has stolen it. Now she's looking for her little rebellious rascal. It's just over there. Brian, obviously leopards and lions would ideally like to eat fresh meat. Tundi's coming in from the side to come and claim her prize from her daughter. But they could go for days, actually. They can go for... She's running off with it. I'm going to try and reposition here so we can see. She's just in the bushes there. But the reason why they get used to feeding on a bit more rotten meat... Oh, she's run away with the kill. So by hoisting the kill, they can feed on the meat for 3, 4, 5 days even. But they're still able to manage doing that, even though the meat starts to get rotten. But they have the gut digestive system to do so. Yeah, she's busy jumping around in the background there as if her scrub hair is still alive. And Mum is looking at her and going, youngster... Youngster, stop playing with your food. That's what Mum is saying. And I see if we can... Playing with her food, yeah. Let's see if we can get back. There, Ferg? Yeah. There we go. There's Mum and daughter in the background, busy playing. That's why Tundi goes off and makes her own kills, because the little one keeps stealing it. I suppose she could take it into the tree. That would be beneficial to them completely, but she wouldn't be able to get... She wouldn't be able to get it away from Mum. Mum's a much better climber than she is. But it's very important skills she's going through there. Yes, the scrub bear is dead, but she's catching it with her claw. What a silly Billy. Okay, folks, should I move forward a meter? 2 meters. Sorry, Tundi, we're just going to move forward a meter here to see your little naughty rascal playing in the background there. And Mum just sits on and watches. She's like, I remember back in the day when I used to play with my food. I don't anymore now. The elegant leopardess in the foreground, and the playful rascal in the background is jumping. So Mum is being quite vigilant. She's away from the playing. Crystal, it is too adorable. I'm not going to move again just yet, because I'm sure she'll move it again, and it's behind the thickets there. So we're just going to stay here. Hopefully she comes out again. Don't want to cause any more I mean, a disturbance in the area. Doesn't seem like doesn't sound like she's even started feeding on it. I think she's just more interested in just playing with her toy. Mum has not, I don't know when last Mum saw her. Her Mum has been very, very accommodating. Has brought her some food. Now she's playing with it like a naughty child. But Mum sits off to the side, ears alert, body in a comfortable posture, listening to any approaching potential danger, which would immediately indicate going up a tree or whatever that might be. Potential danger could be hyenas moving through, but albeit I doubt they would be moving in for the smell of a scrub hare just yet, or even the sound. And if they would have heard the sound of the scrub hare dying, hyena would have been here quite a long time ago. But no doubt Tundi would probably still be. She is still quite hungry. She looks quite hungry. So maybe she would like some of her meat, but she feels content that at least the child has something to play with that is not her own tail. That's quite a clever thing, actually. Give Kalamba a little toy to play with, and then she doesn't affect her at all. Little one now, how old are they when they start killing for the first time? Well, you know, she could probably kill a bird or scrub hare at the moment, little Kalamba. I wouldn't say she'd be very successful at it. She'd probably get 1 or 2 out of 10, or maybe less than that. But she's definitely got the ability to catch things. Whether she's able to kill them is a different story. That's something that she's experienced with youngsters, is that she's coming out again. They're physically able to catch. They're very fast and agile, and they have the claws, but once they've caught it, they generally don't know what to do with it. Like that. She's caught it, but what do I do with it now, Mum? Mum, how do I get through this fur? You haven't quite taught me how to pluck the fur out yet. Mr. Public, indeed, exactly. The play is all about life skills development, and while they're young, they learn all sorts of techniques, and she's also, you know, because she's on her own as a cub, she's got no one to play with apart from Mum, so she needs to learn these jumping tactics and how to use the claws effectively, and how the claws hold on to meat, and how you can pick it up and move it around, and all these things are very important. Hand-eye coordination, also, you know, how to break it open, how to pluck it, maybe how to subdue it if it's already dead. Not quite sure, but like my domestic cat back home, when it used to play with fake mice and things like that, and it's part and parcel of its sort of instinct, you know, to just attack and to chase and to jump around. And I mean, you see how high alert she is. She's on extremely high alert. And it's all part and parcel of being a young leopard. And once she gets something stuck in the bush, how do you get it out? These are life lessons she has to learn. How do I effectively hold it in my teeth and move? You saw how she tried to run away from us before, but the scrub hare tripped her up. Obviously, that's not ideal. If you need to get a kill up a tree quickly before competition arrives, you need to be able to do it with a little bit more grace. And obviously the technique comes. I don't know if any of you have ever done those 3-legged races with your child or with your parent. It takes a bit of coordination, and it doesn't matter how old you are, the child will always trip you up, or the adult will trip you up. So this youngster is having to learn how to do a race like that, so to speak, with some dead weight dragging between its back legs. Possibly even tenderizing her breakfast a little bit. Colbert, unbelievable that this is live. Well, it is indeed. It is indeed 100% live, and we are very special and very happy to be sitting here and sharing these moments with you. And hopefully she'll come out into the open a little bit more. But she's doing a good job though. A leopard should actually secret their kill underneath a tree. First of all for the shade. Second of all, keeps away prying eyes of battaliers and vultures. Not that I've ever seen a vulture arrive at a scrub hare kill before. I wonder if there's anything else further to the north there, Ferg. There's some go-away birds going absolutely ballistic. I don't know if you can all hear that. It's quite far off though. Maybe they can still see these. They can still see the leopards here. Doubtful. I think it's a bit too far. Okay, so I just need to have a quick chat on the radio. Okay, Herbie seems like he's dealing with it at the moment. Okay, well it seems like James has managed to get his bushwalk backpack up and running, so let's go have a chat.
Well, we can have a chat, yes. What do you want to chat about? We've had a bit of trouble with our bushwalk backpack, and so we haven't really been able to find any signal. But what we have found are tracks of Tingana, which are going to the east. Are we going east? We're making a loop to see. Okay, Herbert says we're making a loop to see what's going on. Tingana, of course, on foot, as I was saying, is a bit hopeless, really. He doesn't like to see people on foot. His caution makes him very difficult to find and then bring vehicles in. Anyway, we might be lucky. Taylor is coming into this area, as far as I'm aware. Yeah, Anna-Marie, that's all I do when I'm on leave. The only thing I do is watch Safari Live for 6 hours a day, every day. No, Anna-Marie, I'm afraid I don't watch Safari Live at all when I'm on leave. It's something that is... it would be like... it's not really like this, but if you were a... what can I say? I mean, if you were an accountant, you wouldn't phone into the office daily to find out how the audit was going. It's not really like that because it's a lot more fun than any accounting. But you do need to step away from it. That's not to say you need to step away from the bush, but it's nice to step away from everything that is associated with work. Because at the end of the day, it's nice to have a break from whatever you're doing. So if you're doing something continuously for 6 or 8 weeks, it's nice to just step away from that. So, no, Anna-Marie, I don't watch Safari Live when I'm on leave. I read about the highlights that we have, and if there's a little video that's put out, like a short story or a highlights package, I'll watch that, but I don't watch any of the drives. I find I do enough of that when I'm at work. Some people do. I don't think anybody watches it full time. I know Brian, who used to work for us, he was a brilliant cameraman. He used to watch quite a lot when he was on leave. If he wasn't travelling, he'd have it on in the background. That's a very, really good way of putting it, Crystal. It's like working at a restaurant and going into that restaurant for a meal on your day off. It's exactly what it's like. So you may well go to another restaurant to eat a meal, but you wouldn't go to the same one that you work in. It's exactly what it's like, really. So it's not that you don't like the restaurant or the fact that, or eating out or anything like that. It's just that you don't want to do the same thing that you've been doing for the last 6 to 8 weeks. And, I mean, I guess the other thing to say is that I far prefer doing stories from watching them. I quite like watching them, but I prefer doing them from watching them. Okay, Indigo Girl, we'll go back to that discussion we were having about nutrition. I don't know how far we got when we were rudely interrupted by this malfunctioning bushwalk. Oh, great. We've lost signal now. Okay, we're back? Okay. So I was reading a book on human nutrition, and it goes into, it's a hugely detailed book in many respects, but what it talks about is herbivores, their digestive tracts, and it's all, basically this book is about human lipidophobia, or the fear of fat, and the con job that for some medical people, and certainly the nutritional guidelines, specifically in the US, which the rest of the world has kind of taken as gospel, have perpetuated on us. And so there's a fear of animal fat, eating animal fat. We think it's bad for us. We think it gives us heart disease. We think cholesterol, that it raises cholesterol, and that gives us heart disease. And that we should be eating things like whole grains and vegetables, and 5 servings of fruit and vegetables a day. Limit the amount of red meat you eat. Certainly cut off all the fat. Eat low-fat dairy if you're going to eat dairy at all. And it turns out that there's actually very little, in fact no scientific evidence for 90% of what I've said to you, and that it comes largely from commercial concerns and various other reasons. Anyway, that's not the discussion. What was so interesting biologically, though, is that this guy goes into human biology, and he talks about herbivores, because a lot of people will say that, well, it's much healthier just to eat vegetables, and if you can stick clear of animal products, then that's probably better. But the human digestive system is not designed to do that. And so we look at herbivores and we think to ourselves, well, they can survive on plain carbohydrates. Surely we can as well. And in actual fact, that's not true. Because what they do is they eat carbohydrates, but they're stuffed full of bacteria in their guts, and those gut bacteria turn the carbohydrates that they eat into various fatty acids, into saturated fats, so basically into animal fat, that is then absorbed by the herbivore's digestive tract and used for energy. And his this little thesis that he was developing in this part of the book was that the human gut does not have any of those biota. We are unable to create fatty acids from carbohydrates, which means that if you eat a carbohydrate-based meal or carbohydrate-based diet, you are going to be inescapably short, no matter how you try and supplement it with plant foods. Unless they're very, you can eat nuts and avos and that sort of thing and get quite a lot of the fat, but you won't get anything like the amount of saturated fat that you would from cheeses and full cream dairy, animal fat that your body needs to make energy and absorb vitamins. And he goes into all sorts of diseases that we now have, that we didn't have before. The advent of the dietary recommendations of the sort of late 70s that came out in the US and were adopted by most of the rest of the world. Things like type 2 diabetes, which is a disease of obesity and of elevated insulin, which comes from eating carbohydrates. And this is, this is not only people who it's not only people who have eating disorders. This is just anybody who suddenly finds themselves putting on fat or putting on weight, and they are doing their best to follow all these dietary guidelines, and yet, and no matter how far they run or how much exercise they do, they still can't lose any weight. And it's because we're not designed to eat carbohydrates. So it's diabetes, obesity, and very interestingly, more and more evidence that the massive upsurge in cancers and dementia in the elderly has to do with this carbohydrate-based diet. So, definitely worth looking into. Right, so that's my second lecture of the day. Let's go back to Tlalamba and Thandi.
Well, this youngster is really enjoying playing with her food. Mum has moved a lot closer, but she hasn't yet interfered. She's allowing her to have her fun with it, but it still doesn't seem as if she's done any feeding. That's the first bit there, it looks like, of her actually plucking some fur. Hasn't quite mastered the technique yet of getting the fur out the way. There we go, maybe if I lick it. Licking it first might work. See Mum licking things all the time. That's not great. Okay, let's try this end then. Quickly get it. The branch is in the way. Yeah, that's a very good branch to lean on, young one. Bite the branch, that's it. You show that branch who's boss. Oh, got it. By the face. Yes, you're doing a very good job there. Just having to guide another vehicle into the sighting, so I do apologize if I speak on the radio. Elvis for Steve? Yeah, I'm not sure exactly where you are, but if you go back to the junction of Hyena and Central and go directly north, that's where we are. Copy. If you go into Hyena Road itself and then you just go up a bit and then you find any one of the paths going off to the left, that would get you to us. No, we're not far. We're not far at all. Okay. Just directing Elvis in, folks. Elvis is not dead. He's one of the guides from the north. I always laugh when I hear his name. Okay, so are you finally going to feed? We might maybe move in there, Fergie. Are you still happy there? Okay, we've given them some space. Thandi's moved over. Let's try and move in without spilling my cup of coffee. Such a naughty little girl, isn't she? There we go, Ferg. I think that's going to be it, eh? There she is. I can just see Thandi off to the side. She's watching the playful Tlalamba do her thing. I think you can get her there, Ferg. She's just there. Yeah, there she is. I'm glad everyone's enjoying it. It's so funny to see this little youngster doing her thing. There we go, licking and licking. Now, I've got your visual now, Elvis. Just head directly north now. Okay, copied. Okay, so Elvis is on his way in. Here's a beautiful Tlalamba. Aren't you so gorgeous? So you're going to open the scrub here up now. My world, your music, of course. You need to be very cautious of influencing the behavior of animals. And obviously, after a period of time, leopards become quite used to vehicles. So you can get relatively close, but you should never impede on their safety or on their boundaries. And we always try and err on the side of caution and just move in and see how the animals react. And if we can move a little bit forward, we will do so. But if the cat comes closer to you, that's generally okay. They are closing the boundary on us. But I wouldn't say there's a limit, a guideline. Basically, use your discretion. And if you feel like you're going to influence the animal's behavior, then you should stop. You shouldn't go any closer than that. For example, now we've got a very nice lens. We can see these animals in the open. There's no need to go any closer. By going a little bit closer, we're probably going to make some noise. And that's just not what we want to do. Now, Elvis, if you come around this shadulu here, okay, well, while we stay here and try to manage the sighting as best we can, let's go over to McCurdy and see exactly what she's up to.
We're driving. We've been on the telephone. Leopards calling, Taylor, come and check this area. Racing around. Trying to find whoever this leopard is. So, okay, this is my conspiracy theory. Are you ready for it? I think I did tell it to you. I think really what's happened here is that Tingana killed something and the hyenas stole his kill, which were the hyenas that we saw that were covered in blood. Then he was annoyed and he left the area and he's walked back sort of to the west and coming back around to the northeast. And now is on a bit of a territorial, I suppose, little quest. So I think that's what's happened. Now we just need to try and find him. So Peter from Nkoro is sitting at Baboon Pan and he said he'll let me know if he hears a leopard sawing, because we're obviously driving and a leopard saw is nowhere near as loud as a lion roar. So sometimes it can be tricky to hear over the rumbling of the engine. And then also I just bumped into James and Herbie and Senzor, so they're also around here too. We did hear Franklin's alarming, and again, this is an area that Tingana likes to sort of use. Let's turn my radio on a little bit. So we're just checking slowly. I haven't seen any fresh tracks yet, just all the old tracks. So who knows? Who knows? I'll be happy if he comes back this way. I'll be very happy. Otherwise, it's been quiet. We haven't really seen much. Sebastian is now holding the aerial in place. Multitasking at its best, he said. Yeah. So we've got one hand on the camera, and he's also got one hand on the aerial. I think we might actually have to come back to camp. Yeah. That's no good. I'm going to actually turn around right here then, because I'm not going to continue on this road. It's going to lead us astray. That is no good. I think we have lost a bolt. There's a hyena. No, man. I'm going to show you now. It just put its head down. Hang on. Is that a hyena? Yes. What you doing here? You see? 12 o'clock. Well, 11 o'clock. Don't you get up and run away now. You've been spotted. Hello? I can hear Franklin's alarming down below us too. Oh well, one hyena sleeping in the grass. It looks quite dirty. Not really too bothered by us. I can't really see if it is a male or a female right now, which is very difficult. I just saw its ears poking up above the grass, which I thought looked a bit strange, and I thought that's a bit big for a daycare. It wasn't. It was a hyena. I wonder if it was one of the hyenas we've seen running around. Head up again. What is that sound? I heard a strange noise going like that. I don't know what that was, if it was a bird. I think it was a bird, but I don't know what bird. Bird with a sore throat. Go away, bird's also starting to show. I'm just listening. I'm sure he's here. I think there's something around here. The birds seem to be very unsettled. This hyena doesn't seem to be too bothered though. Fast asleep. Right. Let us carry on. Bye-bye, hyena. Thank you. I don't think there's no little hyenas around. Okay, we'll carry on right now. Okay, so Stivobo is having lots and lots of luck the past couple of days. That's great. We're going to probably have to head back to camp now, just to fix an aerial, but off we go back to Thandi and Tlalamba.
Yes, well, thanks, James. It has been you who's been guiding us into these leopard sightings, so thank you very much, sir. Tlalamba seems as if she's finally starting to munch on her scrub hare. She's hidden there in the shade. A very nice magic worry branch above her head as her mom watches on very patiently, as a good mother should. Once the child is happy, I suppose, the parent has always time to relax. Christy, my favourite leopard since being here is definitely by far the little chief Hosanna, who has since disappeared down to the south in search of greener pastures. Hopefully he will materialise back. He is a very good friend of mine, and he liked to come and say hello whenever possible. I really just loved his personality and how you'd go out looking for something and you'd end up parking somewhere and he would just decide to come out and hello. I think Brent was off the vehicle once with David on the back, and Brent was down in the drainage line checking some tracks, and Asana walked across the camera and no one even knew. FC had to call David and say, David, you just saw a leopard on your camera. It's just so funny. He's such a superstar. There we go, the little one's head is up again. Beautiful ears. It's amazing how camouflaged they are, aren't they? No ways you'd be able to see this from the road. You need the tracking team, you need to hear the alarm calls to be able to find it. You can see her brain working overtime. A few more visitors here. What's going on? Are they here to play with my food? Gorgeous little mini profile of Thandi there, a little Tlalamba. If you didn't know any better, you'd think it was her. Apart from the ears being perfectly shapen, Thandi's ears are missing a few chunks. I've always wondered what that little patch of skin is, that little fold on the bottom of it. Most cats' ears, and you can see it on Tlalamba's there as well, sort of in the middle of the screen, that little pouch. Always wondered what it's for. I've never known the answer. I wonder if anyone else out there has wondered the same, or if they know what it is. Must have some purpose. Some sound catching device of sorts, some filtering device. Or is it just one of those things that have become null and void, like our appendix, an evolutionary lost piece of something, anatomy? an animal that Columba might not be able to take down on her own. James has got one in his sights.
Yeah, probably not. Probably not take down a kudu, Shlalamba, at this age. But you know, records are made to be broken, etc., etc. What's interesting now is that we're standing below a bank, which means that the kudu is not really sure what we are. Well, I mean, pretty sure what we are, but we're not standing out in the open in a sort of threatening way, but at the same time the kudu can see us. Let's compare now what happens when we walk up onto the top of the bank here. Let's compare the kudu's reaction to us once it sees us standing out in the open. Of course, the kudu is now not looking at us because a car is driving past. Oi! Excuse me. Maybe it's looking at the leopard we're looking for. Let's go a bit closer then. Right, let's stop here. See how he reacts now. So no differently, but if we now, let's go and hide behind this tree over here, Senzel. See what he does then. So now he cannot see me. I've gone behind a bush. We're not getting any closer to him. We just kind of have put ourselves behind cover. Let's see how he reacts. There we are. He's really failing to demonstrate my experiment here at all. He's just watching us. I'd expect him to move away now that we've ducked behind cover, except now he can see us again. But he hasn't moved at all. It's probably because we are sufficiently far away from him not to be afraid. He's a quite fine fellow that he's allowing us to view him like this. Is very nice. Oh, it's Zeus again. A very nice set of horns. Now he's making some cover for himself. Yes, Indigo Girl, you're absolutely right. Look at those horns, they were very impressive. Let's see if we can get one last look at him. Interesting how we're seeing more kudu now. I suppose it's completely obvious, though, because there is so much less vegetation in the way of what we're looking at. Yeah, now he's a bit suspicious, so he's moving off. I feel like we're seeing far more kudu than we did during the summer months. I don't suppose that should be surprising, though. What have you got? Monkeys? Ah, Herbert is calling us. Maybe he's found another leopard. Have you found another leopard, Herbert? No, he says. Ah, the processionary worms. We had some of these 2 days ago. Very nice. Look over here. You see them there, Senzo? The caterpillars. There they are. And they're sitting on Rusquenziae, which they were doing last time. And I said to you last time we looked at them that this plant does seem to possess some form of toxin. And the reason I said that, of course, is because the flea beetle larva lives on this tree, or the flea beetle lives on this tree, and it lays its eggs on this tree. And the larvae then eat this tree and become tremendously toxic. So I'm pretty sure that's what these chaps are doing here. Look, they've got their dungs all in their hairs. You see that? I wouldn't want that going down my back. That is remarkable. Now, they're called processionary worms, of course, because they will process. They will join up with each other and walk head to toe when they move from one bush to the other. And in so doing, they seem to be able to confuse their potential predators into believing either that they're much too large to eat, or that they're a snake, or that they aren't actually moving at all. It is rather, Joe. You say it's a cuddle puddle of caterpillars. It's exactly what it looks like. Well, I mean, there must be 100 in there. And I suppose if you were a bird, you would think twice about trying to eat this thing. You wouldn't know what it was, really. Looks like the tail of a civet or something. Very interesting. This is Ruscoenzia, by the way. You identify it by its trifoliate leaf. That's one leaf over there. And by the fact that it has spines. Many of the Russas do not have spines. This one does. There we go. Now, we've had a few technical difficulties today. We have not been the only ones, however.
Yes, they seem to be a common trend. And again, Sebastian is incredible at multitasking. It's really quite funny. Like I said, one hand on the camera, other hand holding the aerial, along with...
What do you put the things at the back of a ship? The back of the
Oh, that you would steer. You would steer.
Yeah.
Old school. I suppose you'd using the rudder, aren't you? Turning a rudder?
Yeah. On
Yeah.
the sailboat.
On the sailboat, on those little speedboats, you know, with your engine at the back. Yeah, that's pretty much what's happening. Anyways, we're almost home now, so hopefully we'll be able to get it all sorted. It's not a major issue unless we don't have bolts. Then it's going to be a problem. So hopefully we've got some long bolts in the tech room somewhere. I'm just trying to go slowly here, so I don't want the whole thing to fall apart. And this is a little bit of a bumpy section as we go down into Philemon's Whee! And then, I don't think we've had any, no one's really had any more luck with those leopards. Knowing Tingana, if it is him and he is back again, he's probably gone to sleep by now. He likes to go and curl up in a spot for most of the afternoon until a little bit later where he'll get up again. Take care. No, I was talking about this yesterday morning actually, about Amber's cubs. Not one person. There's rumblings of people saying they've seen cubs, but there's no pictures. I can't get any information out of anybody. No one really knows what's going on, unfortunately. So that is my update for you. So we'll just have to wait until the Nkumas decide to come back this way. But if the evokers carry on roaring like the way they are, probably not going to be any time soon. But it seems like they've gone back into the Manuleti, as I don't think they've been sighted. The Torchwood Pride, however, has been found. That has definitely happened. The Torchwood Pride on Torchwood have killed a kudu, so they're gobbling that down. That sounds very exciting. And then that's really all. That is all. So now we just keep searching. But like I said, there's not going to be many predators moving around now. You know, there's always a chance of a pack of dogs running right in front of us. That could definitely happen. So we'll keep our fingers crossed. Anyways, we're about to head back into camp now and do a quick fix. I'm going to send you back across somewhere in that direction to the east-west Eviz.
Well, thank you. Looks like Tundi's having a bit of a doze off there. Like a little cat nap. While her daughter seems to have finally opened up her meal. Just here. You probably can't hear it. I can just hear little crunchings of sound. And the vehicle moving. There we go. She's opened it. You can see a little bit of the scrub here around the branch on the left. And and a bit of the meat open on the right. There's a vehicle moving in the sighting, and she's obviously gets their attention up. It's important for them to be able to hear what's going on. A beautiful youngster. There she is. She's got the blood in her nose. Thanks, Victoria. Victoria gave me the update about the Henry's pocket, also known as the cutaneous marginal pouch. It's very common in domestic cats, and we see it here in the leopard. The reason for it that seems to be unknown. However, one hypothesis aids in the detection of high-pitched sounds by attenuating low pitches, especially when the ear is angled. Common in a cat when hunting. So what the purpose of it really is very hard to say. We can only guess at these things, but it is a very high sort of area, or high potential area, for parasites and ticks, because it's nice soft skin. There's no real fur there. So if you do have cats at home, folks, that is a place where the vet should check, or you should check for the parasites. But I love how many things there are in nature that we don't really know the meaning of or the reason for. We can guess at them, we can assume, but one thing we do know for sure is that little leopard cubs like to play with scrub hairs before they eat them. Don't they, Ferg? Beautiful young lady. Is getting so big and strong. As someone commented earlier, she's not looking like a cub anymore. It's a little sub-adult. A very cheeky one, as she runs away with the scrub hair that I have no doubt Mum caught for her. Well, we weren't here to see it, so we don't know for sure. But that's probably what happens. Tanya goes off, kills herself a deka, finishes the deka, comes back, kills the scrub hair, gives it to Tlalamba. Tlalamba plays with it, leaves Mum alone so she can have a rest, and then off she goes again for another nightly wonder, for another deka. Possibly that's what's happening. Okay, well, from our leopard eating its meat, we're going to go back over to James Henry, and I think he's got some tracks.
In fact, we have got tracks. They are on the road here. There they are. They're cow tracks. Now, for many months we have walked these lands without fear of the horns of the buffalo. That day is now over. Now we must constantly be aware for the black peril that is the African buffalo. That was me being dramatic, as you can tell. So there's a big buffalo bull, and I'm being entirely serious there, where I stayed for a long time. But for a little bit, sort of 4 weeks ago, we've been totally fear-free of buffalo because there have been no tracks at all. Now they seem to be coming back. As everything dries out, they'll seek out the little water points here. I'm pretty sure this chap is heading down towards Twin Dams where we were. And in fact, it's rather strange we didn't see him, because I think he's just popped off into the bush here. Maybe he heard us coming, and then he'll head down towards Twin Dams. And I'm willing to bet, and in fact, if somebody reminds me, because my brain's too small to remember, reminds me, we'll come down and check Twin Dams this afternoon and see if he isn't actually there. So these are very fresh, steaming buffalo tracks, and for those of you who haven't seen them before, you can see they look precisely like the tracks of the domestic cow. So if you have Friesland anywhere around where you live, go and have a look. Little one now, you say I should do movie trailers. Thank you. Yes, as long as it would pay me a lot of money, I'd happily do, well, just about anything, really, except being an accountant. I wouldn't like to be an accountant. Let's carry on. Tiffany, if I did know about the Kruger Millions, rest assured I'd have found them by now, and I would probably have retired. I might still be doing this job as a way of keeping myself busy, because it would be quite fun. The Kruger Millions, for those of you who don't know, Paul Kruger, when he fled this country at the end of the Boer War, I think he was believed to have dumped a huge amount of great fortune in gold somewhere in the Kruger National Park as he fled the country via what was Lorenzo Marx and is now Maputo, the capital of Mozambique. I think he died in Holland, actually. It would seem that is a legend and it isn't true. But who knows? We might stumble upon the Kruger Millions right here at Djuma, perhaps under that Scotia tree, in the termite mound, in a small tin, or large tin chest. Wouldn't that be fun? SJPK would be the initials written on it. I think he was Stephanus Jacobus Paul Kruger. Paul Kruger. He was, in case you're wondering, Paul Kruger was president of the Transvaal Republic in the late 19th century and early 20th century. So here is a piece of buffalo dung. Now what's interesting here is that you can see it has a mucus layer on it. You see that? Ooh, that's very nice. And under it, you will find the digested material. Very, very finely digested. Almost no animal out here has an efficient absorption of nutrients like the buffalo. Remember the trade-off, though, and this is why winter is so important for these animals, the trade-off is that they need a lot of water to be able to effectively digest the dry grass that they do. Vern, I haven't found any fossils around here, no. You probably could if you looked hard enough. This area, there are no rocks in this area, very few rocks in this area, because it's very ancient. And so any fossilization that did take place, I suspect, is either very far under the soil or just gone. Because it's a very, very ancient area, not a lot of clay. And it was at one stage a lake, into which, I suppose, in which fossils may have formed. But that was hundreds of millions of years ago. So I'm not sure, I don't know a lot about this, but I don't think this area is particularly good for the formation of fossils. Unlike, for example, the parts of northern Natal, where Brent spent a lot of his childhood at a place called Pinda. Seems to be conducive to a lot of fossil development. He used to find a lot of bivalves and that sort of thing. But here, not so much. It's warmed up, thankfully. It's very pleasant indeed. And so we're heading north, the faint whiff of eggs in our noses. And as we do that, I think the breakfast of the leopards is just about finished.
Well, she is thoroughly enjoying her meal of scrub hare in the morning. And my favourite leopard, Hosana, enjoyed many a scrub hare. Once I viewed him eating it right next to my foot. Well, practically next to my foot. And now the smell of eggs is wafting all the way over to me. I can almost see camp from where we are. So thanks, James, for putting that image of food in my mind. Christy, yes, they do, most certainly. Cats get fur balls. The fur balls are slightly different to those of domestic cats because the fur balls that the leopards and lions generate are not just from licking themselves. There is a lot of that, but it's also from the way that they eat. Lions especially, when they eat, there's no room for nicety. There's no room for plucking out the fur. They just eat and ingest everything. And then a little while later, the next day or so, I'm not sure exactly how long it takes, they will have to eat some grass to help them to regurgitate an enormous amount of fur that they've accumulated from licking and from feeding. So leopards do the same. They try and pluck out most of the fur. Cheetah will also try and pluck out most of the fur, but it doesn't always work, and a young leopard like this probably doesn't have the best ability at plucking. So she's going to get a bit of fur in her mouth. There we go. Look at that. She had a big dollop of fur in her lips. Josh, that's a very good question. I don't know if anyone's got a record if they just don't feed an animal and then time it. But, you know, cats, leopards and lions are regarded as sort of starvation resistant. They can go for about 2 weeks without eating. But that's in extreme conditions. They will choose to eat when they're hungry. So they're very opportunistic. They can sometimes have 2-3 kills at the same time. Sometimes they can go days, a week without. But obviously the more experienced they get and the more professional as a hunter they get, the more often that they will eat. But this little youngster can often be left for a day or two while mum goes off, and she will wait. Yes, she'll get hungry, but it's nothing untoward. They will survive. They can go for quite some time. So they reckon about 2 weeks. But obviously leopards have the ability to hunt quite well, and they will hunt whenever possible. So the need to eat increases, and obviously the need to catch food then and support that increasing appetite. So like mum is not at all bothered by the food here. She knows that Tlalamba can play with it and eat it as much as she likes, and she'll just wait for the evening and go catch it. I don't think they have the same sort of stomach pains we have, the hangry, as we would call it. I mean, I just suddenly I heard a link in my ear about James mentioning eggs, and my entire stomach has turned upside down, and now I am starving. But I think that is a lot to do with thought, isn't it? What we portray as hunger, when actually if you stop thinking about the food, it disappears. Well, so we think. Anyway, I suppose cats are always hungry. They will always eat. Even when they're full, they can still put something back. It's kind of that like survival instinct of eat while you can. Eat as much as you can while you can. And that's probably what drives them on to be successful. The hunger and the need to eat is what makes them such successful hunters, even though they don't kill as often as most people would think. And the prey animals and the arms race we have, as the leopards get more cryptic and more stealthy, so the prey animals get more cryptic and stealthy and fast in their own right. It'll be quite a big meal, a scrub hare, for little Tlalamba, but I've no doubt she will scoff it all down in her belly and leave absolutely nothing for mum.
I'm giggling because Herbert and I are in the middle of a conversation. Never mind. Let's have a look here at the winter dung. Winter dung is the best smelling dung. Senzo, have you ever smelt elephant dung? Have you? You need to. Now describe what that smells like.
It's like a fire.
It's like fire? What else? Ugwai, Gwabantu Badal, the tobacco of old men that they put in their, you snuff, you mean, the snuff that they put in their noses. I suppose it does smell a bit like snuff, but it is a very comforting smell. Makes me feel very happy, I must say. And that's because it's dried out. They eat so many different kinds of leaves in the winter time, and then it dries out here and smells like, I don't know, comfort. Very nice. On we go. One always must do a dung segment, you see, if you fail to find an animal. Dung is the go-to thing. Many a time have guides all over the world, and they're doing it now actually, looking around thinking, what can I tell my guests now? And then they see a pile of dung on the ground and they think, here we go, tell them about this. The other thing they will definitely tell you, if they're struggling, is about the guarri bush, and they'll make a toothbrush for you. I was always told, when I started guiding, I was told, if you ever do the toothbrush tree for anyone, you can go and find another job. And that's because every guide from here all the way into Ethiopia does the toothbrush every time they go on a walk with their guests. I believe Steve did it yesterday. Steve, in his defense, did it because he had given you a whole spiel about its medicinal uses and then just followed on with the toothbrush thing. Anyway, I actually quite like the toothbrush thing. I've done it many times myself with actual guests. You can throw your toothbrush away, yes. You know how to do it, do you? You know how to make a toothbrush.
You said to cut the...
You cut it in half and you just chew it. Okay. I'm not going to do it for you. John, yes, I can look for a cheetah. In the meantime, though, I'm going to show you Ochna inermi, mainly because I keep forgetting the name of this tree, but because I've remembered it and because this tree I have found again, and it's not very common here, I'm going to tell you that it is called Ochna inermi. Remember it? It's got tufted leaves. There's nothing else to say about it, really, other than I just kind of remembered it. That's a really fascinating segment. I think we should definitely record that and use it as an example of how to do a tree segment. That's all I know about it, Kirsten. I can't tell you any more about it. Ochna inermi, I don't even know its common name. We are trying just to see where Tingana's tracks eventually fetched up. We kind of gave up looking that side of the riverbed where Taylor was, and we've come up here towards Chelapan, where there is a very little bit of water left, and we might be lucky once we get that side. If you're wondering where Taylor's gone, she has had to go back home to fix her aerial. She's in the final control room now, while her car is being fixed. And she's having coffee. That's very nice. I think it's, you know, although it was cold on foot today, I imagine in vehicle it was twice as cold. So a coffee, I think, is a very good idea. All right, let's see what we can find on this bush. Gymnosporia buxifolia. Not a great deal. I have to tell you, though, my stomach's been slightly uneasy of late. And this is a good one for that. It tastes very nice, but good medicine often doesn't. I'll just have one. I'm just going to have one leaf. And what it does, of course, it's so full of tannin that, rather like black tea, it will slow down whatever's going on in your gut. And what tannin does eventually is it will paralyze the gut. And so you'll often find in a drought year, especially up in the Mopani Veld, which is not too far north of here, you'll find kudu will poison themselves to death in droughts. They're unable to stop themselves eating. They'll try and eat Mopani leaves. We don't get Mopani trees here, or leaves like this. And eventually what it does is it stops up their guts entirely and they starve to death and drop dead. You don't ever want to find a kudu looking like that. Good. That was Gymnosporia buxifolia, or the common spike thorn. Let's see what else we have up here. I'd say the temperature now is around about 70 degrees or so. Right, I have been unable to find anything over here. Somebody who had something has now decided that he doesn't want to be there anymore. He's going to tell you why.
Oh, okay. Well, we're going to get last little looks at Tundi. It's not that I don't want to be here, but when you find a leopard with a leopard cub, others want to come and see. So David from Torchwood here is coming in. Just going to help direct him in. Excuse me for a moment. Morning, morning. David, if you just drive straight to where I was parked there, you'll see the female is in front. Straight there, you'll see her very shortly. And then 10 meters to the left, the youngster is in the thickets underneath, feeding on a small scrub hare. Enjoy. She's looking at you right now. Enjoy. We'll be leaving. There we go. Nice yawn just to say good morning and goodbye. Okay, there we go. That will be it for us for the morning. We're going to be leaving other vehicles to come and have a look, and we'll be moving out. So what a marvellous morning we've had with Tundi and Kalamba. But you got to see the best of it. Yes, you did. Uh-oh. Come on, Wendy. Good girl. No, I don't get nervous, Kirst. Just the problem is the reason I might have sounded a bit funny there is that the worst thing that can happen is you call the other people in who want to come and see, and then you break down and you can't leave, which means that you are essentially a vehicle stuck in the sighting, and then that means no one else can come. I'm sure a lot of you out there are going, yes, 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 break down, break down. Oh! Did I just karma that? I think I did. I think I just karma'd that. That was what we call a stump. Sorry, Wendy. Good girl. Good girl. I'm going to go this way out then. Seems to be the easiest way. Well, you can tell it's been action-packed this morning. I don't know where the time has gone. I've still got my gloves on, all my layers. Now I'm suddenly feeling quite warm in the morning. It is a beautiful day. Thanks, Kirst. The weather is now 18 degrees Celsius, 64 degrees Fahrenheit. We're just going to do another little bypass here. Oopsie, bumps everywhere. Enjoy, enjoy. We'll just stop here. Well, the traffic bypasses us. This is the traffic we experience here sometimes in Djuma and the Saba Sands. It's not very bad traffic. Good morning. Enjoy. Not very bad traffic indeed. We're going to slowly head out and see whatever else we might find. Well, it seems like Taylor has managed to sort out her technical difficulties.
All thanks to Sebastian. I did nothing. I just stood around and... Oh, squirrels. 2. We hit the jackpot. Okay, well, there they are. 2 squirrels, all sprawled out on a marula tree. Obviously trying to get nice and warm. Wait, sprung straight off. There's one still creeping up. It's just moved. There we go. Just to that horizontal branch. Wait, hey, exactly like a... There's lots of squirrels. Look, there's another one halfway down on the tree again. On that same one. There we go. So that's the 3rd squirrel. That's a different one, because the other one we did see initially is run across the road. So there's another one. It's amazing how they're able to hold onto the trees. Now, for those of you that have never, and I assume this is most of you, have never felt a marula tree before, it's got lovely fissured bark, which, of course, will aid in these squirrels being able to climb up it. And look how cool that is. Little ninjas. So they haven't got any... any hairs or anything that help them hold on. They're physically just using their little claws and just wedging it under those pieces of bark. And, of course, the squirrel only weighs a couple of 100 grams, not very much. So it's really not going to pull that bark away. Although I'm sure they get a scare every now and then. Or they grab a piece that just doesn't hold as well. Look, they're all doing the same thing. Oh, goodness, there's 3 up there. What are they doing? They're chasing one another. No, they're not chasing one another. Oh, the ones up top, on the top of the branches are quite entertaining because they're jumping from branch to branch. Yeah, they're up there. There they go. There's 2 of them. There's a whole tree filled with squirrels. Maybe this is the time of the year that the marula trees bear squirrels and drop them off. No, of course, it's not what happens. There are many, many trees around here. I'm sure they've got some nice stash spots because actually the marula trees here on Vuyatela Access all drop quite a bit of fruit. I can literally, I've counted about 6 or 7 squirrels. Tim, very funny. You've suggested that we maybe do one of those special broadcasts that we normally do. Perhaps not. As exciting as the squirrels are, well, not so sure. That one looks like a boy, I think. Might be a male. I'm just looking at that. Yes, I don't know, Kirsten. How do you know? I'm just using, because I'm a very, very well-trained guide. You see, you just know. I'm sure you can all guess. Like we were talking about, rodents and things like that tend to have rather large appendages, if you will, and you can spot them from an absolute mile away. Now they're all gone. Bye, squirrels, but thank you for running around like that. There's always squirrels around. You can see them running around in camp, chasing one another. It's quite funny. Crystal, it was delicious. Thank you for asking. It was so nice. I had a hot chocolate. I didn't have a coffee. It was so great. Downed it. It wasn't very hot though. Just a chocolate thing. It was lovely. Then I got to see what we're having for breakfast. Oh, it's so exciting. It's gonna be amazing. It is wraps today. And on those wraps there's going to be a selection of bacon, avocado, cherry tomatoes. I did say to Amanda, I suggested, why don't we add some pineapple and we make them Hawaiian wraps. So we will see what else goes on there. I'm sure there'll be some kind of cream cheese involved as well. What do you mean, Kirsty? What's wrong with me? I don't know. Final Control obviously thinks that I'm doing some... You can put pineapple inside them. That's what the concern was. And you can totally put pineapple on a pizza. Just saying. How do you feel about that, Sebastian?
Not a big fan, eh?
You're not a big fan?
No, pizza
Get
if
off!
you can.
Get out of this car!
Alright then.
No, I'm really joking. But there's, for some reason, on the interweb, there's a big war between putting pineapple on a pizza. I feel the same way about bananas. I don't know how people can smear banana on toast or put banana on a pizza. Why?
But I can't put pineapple on a pizza.
Can't do any of those things. That's just not on. Yeah, it's Steve's favorite. No. But he also likes to put buffalo leaves in his mouth, so, you know, I'm not surprised there. And then James, what does James do? James also puts, I do put the buffalo thorn leaves. James doesn't eat pizza. Yeah, calling banting pizza. Carb free. It is very funny in camp. You learn a lot about people. And at dinner you'll see everyone, the carb conscious folk. I can't have potatoes tonight. Can't have any of those. What? A moment on the lips, a lifetime on the hips. Live a little. Can you imagine though if something happened to you and then you didn't have your roasted potatoes the night before? I'd be so upset, hey? I'd be so sad. I'd be like, oh, I didn't have one last potato before I went. Especially one of Amanda's roasted crispy potatoes, so crispy on the outside, golden brown, light and fluffy in the center, hot sometimes. Often you burn either your palate or all the taste buds off of your tongue. Philippa, I don't even know if I want to repeat what you like on your pizza. You said bacon, banana and garlic. I approve of 2 of those items, the bacon and garlic. You've got to have extra garlic on everything. My mom, if she could have salt and garlic, she would even put it on her cereal. Tristan? Hi, Tristan. Why are you watching? What you doing? Aren't you supposed to be out looking for animals, hey? sitting back in camp, relaxing. Oh, giraffe. Tristan says he doesn't understand the pineapple on pizza. I mean, on a wrap. Okay, let me just tell you, there is a well-known fast food chain here that has obviously won with the pineapple in the wraps, because there's the thing called a Hawaiian twister. Hey? Do you like those?
Yeah, I can do with those.
Seb can deal with those, that's fine. I don't have to kick him out the car for a second time. They're delicious, and that's basically what we're going to have, but with just bacon, no chicken. So I don't know what you're all on about. Hi, giraffe. We've been seeing your footprints all over. I'm still convinced that it's the same group of giraffe, the same journey that have been traveling about. Hello. Has anyone identified them by their spot pattern? Sorry, I'm trying to hit the brakes now, but it's not working. Here you go. So that is a male giraffe, and I'm sure that there are a few more around nibbling on some breakfast. He's lovely and dark too, so he looks like he's a mature bull. Got a couple of scars on him, perhaps some battle wounds. And now Tristan has got you all distracted. Tristan, go away. Stop trying to steal my thunder. No, I'm joking, of course. I hope he is watching to see that, because he's been giving me so much grief about oh, do you know what happened actually yesterday? And Tristan, maybe you can post your video now. Thank you to everybody who has been posting the go away bird challenges. It's great to actually see all of you. It's nice to actually, you know, obviously we just know you by your names, but it's great to see all faces. And then Tristan was very upset because I didn't ask him to participate in the challenge. So Tristan, please can you send us your video of you doing the go away bird challenge? We would very much like to see it. Just in case you don't know where to post it, put it on Twitter and then hashtag SafariLive. In case you've forgotten. I don't think giraffe enjoy pineapple on pizzas, however. And they don't look like the kind that would tolerate such a fruit. Very hungry. He's been feeding on the same tree for quite some time. Are you done now? Oh, he's looking across at one of the cows that is just moving further and further away. I also hear little birds zitting. Oh, James Richard, you said you like broccoli on your pizza. Like broccoli, like the you know, the one, or do you like broccolini? Because I like broccolini, those sort of long-stemmed broccoli. Ooh, that's delicious. I don't know how I'd feel about it on a pizza. I like olives on a pizza, and it's the only time I'll ever eat an olive. What else is really good on pizzas? Blue cheese. Oh my goodness, rocket. Gorgonzola, like it a bit creamy, with caramelized onions. Yum. Delicious. You'd also put bacon on that one too. That's very nice. Oh, pardon? Avocado? Yeah. No, you cannot. This is a mistake. This is how you can tell a person's pizza sort of making skills, is if they put the avo on the pizza before it's gone in the oven. Oh, what a rookie error. Nobody likes hot avocado. Absolute rookie error. Don't do that. Well, there's more giraffe on their way. Let's see if you can spot the other giraffe. I don't think any of you will be able to see it. You have to look very carefully. I bet Kirsty is now squinting at the screen. If she doesn't have her glasses on. I can't remember if I saw her with her glasses on. Ah, you have got your glasses on. Well done. There's the giraffe. Look, what a surprise! Just to the right of the other one. I bet you all never would have guessed that. Just feeding around in here. And there were about 8 of them that are all moving together. We literally see more giraffe tracks than we do hyena tracks these days on the roads. They're on a mission. But it's nice to have them here, and I hope they do stick around for a little bit longer. Because we go through, you know, periods of weeks and weeks where we don't see any signs of the giraffe. And they do that with the most gorgeous tails. That lovely hair. Great fly swatter. Oh, stunning. He's got such beautiful markings on his back too. All the different colours. And there's obviously little birds and things bouncing around. I was going to try and show you a Morrico sunbird while we were in camp, but it kept flying away, but we'll maybe try again later. Anyways, we'll carry on, but I think it's now very important that you all go across to Samaj, the little mermaid, to find out if he likes pineapple on his pizza.
Okay, we may lose signal here because somebody has forgotten to change the battery. Anyway, I'm also looking deeply dissatisfied because do not like pineapple on pizza. I think it's a dreadful thing to do. I don't know why I'm now a little mermaid. That really doesn't make any sense to me. I'm not a maid at all, as far as I'm aware. I didn't think I was particularly effeminate. I'm not very good at swimming. I don't have fins. There are just so many things about that link that I don't understand and I'm offended by. But mostly I'm offended by the thought of putting pineapple on my pizza. Yes, correct. It's disgusting. And if there's pineapple in my wrap this morning, I'll be very upset. Now, this is the site of one of the most harrowing things I ever witnessed in the wilderness. It was in the middle of the day, not during drive, during the drought, when we watched the Nkuhuma Pride, Amber Eye specifically, killing the buffalo that now lies here, well, the bits of it that now lie here. And we watched it actually die. And it took about 40 minutes for her to strangle it. She either broke the windpipe or brain damaged it sufficiently that even when she let it go and it was trying to suck in air, it was too far gone and it eventually died. But we watched the moment that its eyes no longer flickered and no longer registered life, and I found it very difficult to watch, I must say. The cubs and the lions did not, however. They then devoured the buffalo, as they should have. But it was a reminder, I suppose, of the transient nature of life out here. Yes, Justin, I absolutely would scuba dive in the Arctic, and I'll tell you why. Senzo, if you could detach yourself from that tree, that would be great. He has got... I'm not going to tell you where he's got a thorn stuck, everybody, but if he was to move now, just say that there won't be a whole lot more sensors populating the world. Go on, go out that way then. Let's go this way. So, Justin, yes, I would absolutely dive in the Arctic because I know that Graham's done it around Iceland, for example. He said it was so crystal clear, the visibility was so astounding that it actually didn't feel like you were underwater. The one proviso, of course, would be that I had a substantially sophisticated dry suit on, and so that I didn't freeze, because I really don't like cold. I find it deeply distasteful, and in water I get very cold very quickly. I think in those conditions, unless you're Lewis Pugh, you have to swim in a dry suit. So that's what I would have to do. I'd have to wear a thick jersey underneath my dry suit as well, I suspect. But yes, in theory I would love to get into those waters and have a look around. I must say, I really am very excited about where I will next dive. Matthew, you say I'm a true friend for helping Senzo. I think so too, you know. I think it was nice of me. I could have left him there while I went home to pick the pineapple off my wrap. Right, Senzo, we have a minute left of this drive. What shall we do in the next minute, Senzo? You're full of great suggestions. I feel like since the leopard, it's been a little quiet out. We haven't found anything of great value. But anyway, I suppose once you've found the leopard, your work is pretty much done. And I actually feel that the bushwalk should go home for breakfast as soon as they've found a leopard. Yes. Anyway, that is going to be it from the Sunrise Safari on this, the 24th, I think it is. No, it's not. It's the 28th. What's the date? 27th of June 2018. That's what it is. How amazing. Thank you very much for joining us. We will see you this afternoon, of course. Same three of us. Until then, goodbye.